Okay? Call the roll.
Mayor Bain,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Best,
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Here.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Present.
Councilman Petrolanda.
Here.
We got an invocation, Councilman Petrolaga. Please stand.
We've been nice to know. If you can bow your heads, please. May we be more than just adequate, but truly excel in our work. We ask this of you tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Right hand over your chest. We'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The Assistant City Manager has some ground rules here to go ahead and discuss to us tonight about the what the procedure is going to be. First of all, go ahead, how we're going to proceed.
It's not yet. So yes, hi, good evening. So I will ask that if you are not presenting at the time, that I ask that if you are going to be presenting, but it is not your time, to please not be in the room. And we ask that you wait downstairs in the lobby until the time that we call you up. Okay? Once we call you up, it may run, like we mentioned in the email, may run a little bit over the half an hour allotted time. But we're asking that you make the presentation, and then council will ask the questions and answers of each and every, presenter. And we're going to try to allow the same equal amount of time for each one of you to be able to respond. Once that is completed, then we will ask council. We'll bring everybody back into the room, and then we'll let you all hear what happens at the next stage. Okay? So up first is Grand Salon. So I ask that if you are a presenter for this evening, that the other two from Greenhouse and Sports Bar, please leave the room.
Tammy, I'm sorry, but before they depart, why don't you go over the ground rules with council, like you went over with me, and that way
Sure.
they can all hear it as well, just so there's no.
Sure, sure.
Is one applicant missing? Is Greenhouse missing?
No, Greenhouse is here.
Oh, Sports Bar?
Sports Bar. Who's here
Sports
representing
Bar?
Sports Bar?
Of course not here.
Sports Grill.
Sports Grill. Yeah.
But it says Sports Bar on my paper, Tom. Maybe it's a misprint like you do, I don't know, but it's just Sports Bar.
Oh, say, okay,
God
again, they
dang.
had until 6:30-ish, to get here, so
All right,
hopefully
well,
they're here on time.
So the fact remains is we're letting the ground rules out and they're not here. That's their
correct.
problem.
That's
I'm just
their-
putting
that's
this,
their
everything's
problem.
on the record here tonight.
That's their problem.
All right.
So what I have in front of me here is I have a set of 6 questions that I will hand out to each one of you, and that I am going to ask that each one of you read to each one of the presenters this evening the same questions, so that way all of the companies who are being represented here tonight have the same exact questions asked of them. None of you have seen these questions, nor have they seen these questions, but I will hand them out as soon as I can. Then, once
I want to
everybody...
say one thing after that. If anybody on dais has their own questions, which will be fine, but it should be the same question to the next
Asked to the
applicant,
next 2 and 3.
so that we have a
Correct.
standard to go by.
Correct. Not only that, once we have had all of the food and beverage operators present this evening, we'll call them all back into the room. Once we have once we have heard from all of them. And what I'm going to ask is that at that point, I'm going to ask council make a decision. A, make a recommendation of award based upon staff's recommendation, which was the recommendation from phase 1 of this, which was presented at the May 13th meeting. Or 2, to continue on to phase 2 of the process, and basically council will reevaluate each one of the presenters here tonight and assign your own, the points based on the point system, the matrix that I have in your packets, and which will be a total of 100 points for each operator. And then you'll, or reject all of the proposals that you're going to hear this evening, and we start all over re-advertising for a food and beverage operator. So you have those three options here before you this evening. The next will be, once you've decided on that, then if you decide to re-rate them, the next sheet of your packet will have the rating, the maximum points that you will assign for the three categories. And again, the three categories are their operational business plan, which is a maximum of 30 points, their experience and qualifications, which is a maximum of 25 points, and their revenue to the city, which is a maximum of 45 points. You're going to answer those few questions, and on the third page of your packet, you're going to write in the respondent's name, and for each category, you're going to assign a point for a total number of points that could be a maximum of 100 points, and so on and so forth. Write your name at the bottom of the sheet. Once you've completed that ranking, you'll turn all of those sheets to me, and then I have a final ranking sheet. Okay? So your sheets will equal 100 points, a maximum of a total of 100 points. However, my ranking sheet will be a maximum of 500 points because there's 5 of you for 100 points each. Okay?
Tammy, can you, just for the folks that are here, can you review again what the 30, 25, and 45 are?
Certainly. So a maximum of 30 points will be assigned for their operational and their business plan that will be proposed to you here this evening. You'll get a copy of this package, so you don't have to, their qualifications and experience will be a maximum of 25 points, and then of course their revenue to the city will be a total of 45 points.
Thank you.
Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to ask those who are the second and third presenters to leave the room, and please don't just go outside the hallway, go down to the lobby. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. And should, I guess, Sports Bar and Grill come, just tell them that you're all waiting downstairs until the time to be called. Thank you. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask that nobody else enter or leave the room while the presentations are going on, other than the 3 that left here this evening. Okay?
Now,
Yeah, we'll close the door.
now through the chair, Tammy, if Sports Grill doesn't come in tonight, they're out of it.
They'll be out of it. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to ask is that you take one, pass them down. And again, take one and pass it down. I think one first.
Here's one more thing.
So if we have Grand Salon here, we can have you come on up and
Welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of the City Council of Miami Springs, members of the Selection Committee, fellow colleagues in business, everybody. My name is Antonio Sanchez. I'm the manager of Grand Salon Reception Halls. With us here today, Mr. Orlando Rodriguez, the president of the company, and Mrs. Miriam Portal, the vice president of the company. Thank you very much for this opportunity of being part of this request for proposal for the food and beverage operations services at the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. We understand the importance of the history and the legacy of the golf course and the surrounding community. It is our privilege to be here today to present to you our capabilities in honoring that past, that history, and that legacy, and providing a sustainable operation and plan that will grant the enhance the beauty, and for sure that will provide a financial sustainability to the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. We are confident that at the end of this presentation, you will all agree with us and understand why we are so positive that Grand Salon Reception Halls is the best candidate for the city of Miami Springs to run the operations at the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. I know, at this point, I'm sure you're all asking, but what is Grand Salon Reception Halls? Let me tell you. Grand Salon Reception Halls is a company that has been 19 years in the industry. It was founded on 2000, on May 15th of the year 2000, with the objective of providing services, top quality offers to our clients and the possibility of easy doing events of all types. On August 2004, we had the opportunity of opening our first location, our first venue in the Kendall area, the Grand Salon Reception Halls. We had to take designing, construction of the property, and we're talking of an investment of around $350,000. It was a success. Actually, it is a success. It's now celebrating its 15th anniversary. At that time, we were called by the owner of the property of Killian Palms Country Club to be the ones running the property and doing the operation of the place. At that time, a challenge, because it was asking for ourselves to be able to develop two lines of services, food and beverage services and event planning for social and corporate events. So on September 2005, we started the operation of Killian Palms Country Club, but it was not until March 2006 that we were able to open to the public. We had to take comprehensive restorations, renovations of the place, so we could be able to open 6 months later. But let me show you pictures so you can clearly see what Killian Palms Country Club was and what we were able to turn it into just 6 months later for the opening to the public. Now let me share with you right now what Grand Salon is. It stands in 2019. Grand Salon has two venues, locations, the Grand Salon Reception Halls and the Killian Palms Country Club. At the Killian Palms Country Club, we have two banquet facilities, the Pseudomar and the ballroom. We have a ceremony area where we conduct ceremonies and so on. And we have the Oak Tree Gardens and the Cocktail Terrace and Bar. Of course, a challenge fulfilled because we were able and we have been able to serve, to provide services not only to the golf lovers, to the clients of the golf course, but we have been able to make a good use of the banquet facilities and all the areas around the property that I hope you agree with me that look beautiful right now. Now let me share some numbers. We just took into consideration the last 5 years to mention the gross income of the company in the last 5 years. So the starting point should be 2013, where we made over $1,500,000 in gross income. And if you take a look at the 2018, the number goes over $2,500,000 in gross income. It looked good. You will agree with me that it's not easy, so the question is, how can we do it? Well, let me tell you, the company's management has over 38 years of experience in the food and restaurant industry. in the marketing and service areas, in the quality and guest assistance service, together with a staff that has a great knowledge and expertise in all of those fields related. A lot of work, but most important, all of that comes all together with a multi-directional marketing strategy conceived and directed to the public and the community around. So we work with our web page, a trendy web page, updated with all the requirements of new platforms, a possibility to exchange and share with our clients and all the people interested. We have a very active presence in the social medias through our Facebook page or Instagram accounts, for example. We have received many recognitions by the most important prestigious and distinguished platforms of the general industry. We have created our in-house magazine. Since 2010, we work from the very beginning with the production, the creation, the artwork, and the annual edition of an in-house magazine where we gather everything related to our services and the facilities we provide and everything that is available to any client that comes to us. Now, Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. As I said before, we do understand the history and the legacy of this place. We agree, as many people say, of the importance of this golf community and stamping on the history of the golf in America. It is our intention to contribute to that. We would love to be part of that by making Miami Springs Golf and Country Club the community's extended patio for any celebration, besides what it is now, a landmark of golf in this beautiful city. In our proposal, in relation to the revenue proposal, as you can see in here, with a span of 5 years, we are talking about $456,000 in revenue. In the case of the first year, we proposed a number, and we also suggested that for the first 3 months, we will be paying a different amount, considering that the first 3 months will be the time that we consider we need to reaccommodate everything in relation to bringing the property to its full capacity in relation to everything. Now, the question here is, Grand Salon, again, we know for sure that we are the only company with the capacity to maximize the full potential of the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. We are the only company that has a proven history of operating a food and beverage service altogether with a social and corporate events in this case. So we proposed a series of actions, as you can see, that will will contribute to improve the conditions, the qualities, the way it looks. One thing I want to point out, none of this action and none of the things we proposed will interfere, will stop at any point the current operations of Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. So we're ready to work, to keep on working and providing all the services right now that the Country Club provides to the clients of the golf course, plus enhancing and adding a series of some other things. So, we've been talking about words, and again, before I end up, let's talk about the words that best describe Grand Salon. And the question here is, why Grand Salon? Because of our experience in the industry, 19 years running and operating a country club, 13 of them working in the food and beverage service and the social and corporate events, the expertise of our staff and all our team, the quality of the services that we provide, backed up and supported by hundreds of reviews and comments of the clients that we've had. Okay, so last and most important, our dual capacity to develop food and beverage services and social and corporate events. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your public service, and thank you again for the opportunity of being part of this request for proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Um, you know, these questions that we want to ask on this sheet, basically, we can ask them, and I can say that some of them we can say were answered. You know, to go through them.
You can ask them. If you
but
have any
it-
others, just,
Yeah,
you know.
you know, I guess I'll ask Bob to read the first one, and if people are satisfied that they gave us the answer to that, we'll go ahead.
First,
Yeah, read the
Well,
first
I
one.
don't know necessarily that you have to ask all the questions.
Okay,
But
no,
if
we-
you felt like they've answered them, then, you know,
Yeah,
you
the mayor,
don't have to.
the mayor makes a salient point here, and I agree with him, actually.
Okay.
Ready, sir?
go ahead.
If awarded a contract, what are your plans for the country club facility? Please elaborate on your operational plan and business plan.
And the presentation presented that, but go ahead.
Don't you want me to go over that?
Go,
Well,
Oh,
I
just
said it.
answer briefly, that's fine.
Yeah, we said it. Like, we are ready to keep on working, providing food and beverage services to the clients of the golf course, but we know there is a lot of potential to the rest of the areas of the building as such. So we are ready to also add the implementation of the possibilities of doing social and corporate events. And by that I mean wedding, any type of celebration. We want the community of Miami Springs to see the country club not only as a place to come and play golf. We want them to see it and think of it and feel it as a place to also come in families to do. In our proposal, we talk about Sunday brunches, for example, or lunch. So that is the place where not only the clients of the golf will come, but their families to have a Sunday brunch and right after that enjoy a nice golf tournament or some games. Same for lunch and some other things like that.
okay.
Okay. I see that your revenue proposal that you put up there earlier seemed pretty impressive. But the question is, do you have any anticipated capital improvements planned? If so, what are they? And what is your time frame for beginning and completion?
Good. So yes, in relation to the time frame, if you don't mind my answering backwards, we said that we consider a 3-month period to go over those, let's say, main plan of actions that we have proposed. We are considering that all the work might go around $100,000 to $150,000. As I said, we have the experience because of what we've done with Killian Palms Country Club, and that's exactly what we're planning to do. And in general terms, we have to think of providing the rooms with the technical support it needs, improving the facade, the way it looks, doing some garden works, and of course there are some things to move that will bring about some other works. But in general terms, it's all about accommodation and bringing the necessary conditions to overcome the plan of action.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
I have,
What's the number?
The number of what? I said
First part of the
100,000.
question was,
He answered it.
100 to $150,000.
okay, well, your revenue proposal said more than that earlier.
But you're asking me, I'm sorry if I got you wrong, you're talking about the renovation investment.
That's correct.
that's
Okay.
capital improvement.
All right.
Did I get it right?
The
Yes,
third-
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I
thank
do have
no,
a
thank you.
question on that. Bob, may I
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
a question
absolutely,
pertaining to that, to
absolutely.
the capital improvements? So what assurances will we have that the money's there? Is that capital improvement, the 150,000, where is that going to be up front? Is that going to be in a special bank account?
Well, we have a bank
Very fine.
account supporting all of our operations. We, in the business proposal, there is one of the documents related to our tax, income taxes from last year, and we're ready to provide if you want any proof in relation to specific numbers. I think the answer is yes. If we go back to the gross income, for example, our company is doing an estimated over $2,500,000 in gross income. Let's deduct expenses and things like that. We're well over $1 million to overcome anything in relation to Miami Springs Golf and Country Club.
So just to clarify, you would be willing to put the 150,000 in a separate bank account?
If
up
you
front?
request so, we're ready to
Like
do it.
a
That's
performance
okay.
bond or something.
Exactly.
Okay, and then related to that also, the restrooms in the facility for renovation, the restrooms near the banquet area, I it's my understanding that those are in need of renovation.
Well, there are a
Have
lot
you
of
looked,
there are a lot of things in need of renovations, and yes, restrooms, of course. We have to comply with the standards and requirements in relation not only to restrooms but all the other facilities. So yes, as I said before, one thing will lead to the other. If you let me mention, there are some TVs that we're planning to move from one room and locate them into some other place. Those walls are gonna need painting. Just to give you an example, one thing will take us to another. But yes.
and just to clarify then, I believe I heard you say then within the first 3 months, you expect to,
Exactly, that's
do
the
the
plan.
capital
Within the
improvements.
first 3 months of operation, as soon as we entered operating the country club, we are expecting that during the first 3 months, most, if not all, of the proposed actions will be fulfilled and completed.
thank you.
The third question, sir. The facility has a banquet, sports bar, and outside patio. How do you anticipate on integrating the use of these areas?
Of course, much more our idea, and now I'm going to move away from everything that has to do with the service of the clients of the golf course, as I mentioned many times before. We will keep on with that as it has been, and we have also some actions proposed in relation to that. The idea is to integrate all the areas. A patio, perhaps not, but in 3 months period, you will see how beautiful it looks integrated to a place where anyone can do from a wedding ceremony to an outside cocktail, a graduation from school, and everything will have to be related from the banquet facilities to the outside patio area. That's why I showed you pictures of our outside areas in Killian Palms Country Club. That is our plan, to integrate everything as a whole.
Fair enough. Next question, sir. Knowing that the city's priorities are the golfers, how do you intend on accommodating them?
Well, it's not only the city's priorities. It will be our priority too, because I told you we are starting our business plan, and we're coming to the city of Miami Springs, and we're looking forward to running the operations of the country club, understanding the importance of the history and the legacy of the clients of the golf course. So, as I said, we're going to work with them. Services will keep on being provided. There is a lot more to give to them. As I said, special menus, we have ideas of proposing some of them in our business proposal, special menus for special tournaments. The idea is that it's not only a place for golf, but they come with the families and they feel like at home. For us, a home's extended patio for any celebration. And by celebration, I mean golf tournaments, games, meetings, and any other thing.
Oh, that's fine, but that's always been a problem, just for your information.
Oh, so that again confirms the possibility of Grand Salon, Reception Hall, and ballrooms. I
Right.
told you, we work at Killian Palms Country Club with a golf course, and one of the things that identifies us as being team-oriented. We work in teams, so we've been able to partner with all the vendors and all at the managements of the whole country club, not only golf, but sports facility. So I'm sure we're going to get along very well. We're ready to learn from them and to exchange everything as a team.
May I ask a question related to that, to this question with the accommodating the golfers? I believe you have in your plan that you have a menu proposed for the first 6 months. What are your plans after that?
Well, it will all work in relation to how the operation moves. Remember, there are times in which, in relation to golf, there will be tournaments, special occasions, and things like that. So we are a company continuously moving forward. So after those 6 months, a lot more will come. It will have to work with the acceptance of what we suggest, or the intentions or the needs of the clients, the clients of the golf course, or anybody else. So we are ready to keep on working. 3 months period is only to start. In relation, for example, to our experience in Killian Palms Country Club, I said $300,000 as initial investment, but all through the years we've worked around $250,000 more. So we're ready to work and improve and continuously move forward in relation to the menus and the options that we want to have available for the clients of the golf course.
I certainly appreciate Councilwoman Mitchell's question there, and I just want to further indulge you. You just made a statement. You said it depends on how the operation moves.
Exactly.
What do you mean by that?
Okay. What I mean is we have never been into the country club in relation to operating. In business, when you start doing something, you move, and we will move according to their needs. What I mean is we are proposing some menus, we are proposing some styles of brunch, but remember, we've done some initial market investigations, but working together with them, working together with experienced people from the Golf Pro Shop, we will get to know what comes best and what they really want. So what I mean is that we're not thinking of a fixed idea, but we will have to move according to their needs and
Okay,
the
so
way
you,
of
so
serving
what you're
them.
saying is you're going to learn as you go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next
As you
question.
should do in every business. Yeah.
Quite right. Next question, sir. How many years' experience do you have in the food and beverage industry? I know you talked about this a little in your PowerPoint, but please explain in detail.
In my case, personally, it's been
I
since
think this is relative to the
the management. Okay, I said the management, 38 years of experience. Our president has been running the food and restaurant industry for over 38 years, working in the entertainment industry together with food and beverage services. Our vice president has also been working in that relation with graduation on marketing and public relations. My case personally, since the year 2000, I've been working in the hospitality industry. So that accounts for around 19, 25, and 38.
Okay, thanks very much. And the final question I have for you tonight. Why should we consider you as being our new food and beverage operator? Why? Question is why?
Okay, I will give you the first immediate answers because we are the only one capable of running two operations altogether. Because whoever goes into only providing food and beverage services or social and corporate event is absolutely wrong and is deemed to failure. In our case, 13 years of operation at Killian Palms Country Club has proven that you have to have them both at the same level, give them both the same level of importance, and work with them at the same high quality that both deserve.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, any questions from
Defer to you, Mayor.
Sure, I will do it. If you don't mind, Mr. Orlando Rodriguez is the president of the company, and Mrs. Miriam Portal, the vice president of the company.
You go
Thanks so
ahead.
much for your presentation.
I have
Well,
questions.
There's a
Okay.
question.
So, thank you so much for,
Well,
for
thank you.
all the detail you provided. Miami Springs is really different. We're different in a good way, and we're very unique within, the greater Miami area. I'm interested in knowing what makes your company, and what you propose different than other venues that people certainly have other venues to select from. Why would they select you, and why would people in Miami Springs as well as people from outside of Miami?
Let me tell you, first of all, we have lots of clients from Miami Springs, from the city, from the city of Miami Springs coming to our venue and always asking, why don't you have a place up north? Why don't you have something closer to us? In the second position, as I said, we have come to this proposal understanding the importance that the golf club has for the community, for the city of Miami Springs. We've gone into history. We know how much it represents, and I think I've tried to make myself clear every time I have been able to during this presentation. We are here to work and partner with the golf people from the country club, and we are community oriented. So that's why I'm sure the city of Miami Springs, the people of Miami Springs, as soon as they know that we are there, will come. And as I said to him before, we are ready to move forward in learning. Those details that as you said, make you unique, we're ready to work with them, we're ready to learn, we're ready to provide what this community really needs.
Okay, I have another question. Thank you, but I have another question. So, the golf the use of the golf course, I don't see as a huge problem because we always have people who want to use our golf course. What plans do you have to attract the public in utilizing the facility? Not just the golfers, but people, especially within the community of Miami Springs. How are you going to make that a place for Miami Springs?
Sure. I mentioned our marketing strategy. Just to share some figures, in the last year we spent over $80,000 only in our marketing strategy. Very multi-directional, very comprehensive. So we are active in the social media. We're active through our web page. But let me give you another example. By just providing some numbers of the packages we are ready to provide to the people of Miami Springs for any celebration for 100 people. And we're talking of a party that might go over 4 hours of an event with an open bar, with a formal sit-down dinner that includes a main course, 2 sides, a salad or soup, all the decoration for the room for 100 people at an average price of $35 plus service and taxes. So we're saying there is an incentive in being able to have an excellent party with your friends, as I said, schools, corporations, companies, all the community for less than $5,000. Not to mention that we take away the burden of organizing an event, compromising with vendors and everything like that. It has worked for 19 years, and it's going to work definitely for Miami Springs.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question. What is your operating hours for the golfers on weekly and the weekend? What's your hours operation?
Okay, so
and what's your service to them in them hours?
okay, so the operation is from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. For all the golf services, 7 days a week. So services provided in all terms for anything related to sports, tournament, competitions, and all things like that. And in the case of food and beverages, the same. It works with a menu, all related to whatever they can have and be provided in terms of food and beverage.
And your hours on the weekends, Friday and Saturday night, are till 8 a.m.?
Exactly the same, yeah. Remember, we have separate hours. If you talk about the banquet facilities, it all has to do with the planning of an event. You can have events on Saturdays, Thursday, any day of the week. So office hours in that case is Tuesday through Fridays from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 11 until 4 p.m. But I'm talking about the banquet facilities, okay?
I'm talking about servicing the golf course.
Exactly, just as I said
This is
before.
the biggest issue that we have, is servicing the golfers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you're going to need a new staff. Are you planning to retain some of the employees?
Of course. I said it. We're ready to work with what we have now, and we're ready to improve that. That's why in our business plan we say we are thinking of a 15-day period for the exchange. As soon as you give us a day to start, we think that in 15 days will be enough for us to check everything that is available, to account for whatever needs to be brought into the place for the operations. And yes, we're ready to work with what we have, and as soon as we do that and we know what we need to bring, then we will be ready to do more. Like our company is community-oriented. Right now we work with 70 people around in terms of staff. 20 full-time workers distributed in accounting, marketing, event planning, the kitchen, janitorial service, and 50 and sometimes more in part-time jobs related to events only.
Okay.
Will your new hires be considered as Miami Springs residents to be to the top of the heap?
We don't have anything against that. We're an all-inclusive company, so I think the best is that the people of Miami Springs would be interested in working at the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club. Who else can be more proud of the gem they have than the ones that live in here? So if we have it here, there is no need to go anywhere else.
Now, it feels like, or it seems like you're going to start this from the ground up. How long do you think it's going to take you before you have a viable business there?
So I will think that you're asking me only the line of social and corporate events, because food and beverage is already going on and will continue. So as soon as you let us know we are the ones, we will have a business operating nonstop there. We're thinking of a 3-month period for the renovations and so on. But in terms of events, remember most of the events are generally speaking scheduled or booked with a 6-month period time in advance. So if that's the part you're asking, we think that as soon as we enter 6 months later, we're going to be celebrating events there, if not before, because there are companies, there are businesses around. I'm sure the Honorable City of Miami Springs would love to have some meetings there, and we will open the doors to everybody.
I was referring to that, but I know Paul is here. He's the
Yeah,
one who's been running it. I'm sure they're doing a fine job, but I hope that you can do a lot better. I mean, as far as the
Well,
food
I
and
don't
beverage.
think we can do any better than Paul in relation to golf.
That's a good answer.
Because, as I said, we are not here to compete in terms of golf. We are here to partner with that man that is the one that knows about golf. We are here to work with him, to partner with them, and provide his clients that will be ours in terms of food and beverage and the things that we bring or we want to bring to the
See,
country club.
I don't just want to bring. I'm thinking that I just
20
don't want to bring in golfers to our food and beverage. I like for other people to come other than just golfers. So that's kind of where I was going with that question that I asked you. Now, the other part of that question is that you're asking for a 2-month reduction in rent, correct?
Exactly.
2 months. You think that's going to be
3
enough?
months.
3 months.
So we
Yeah.
said 3 months, yes, because that's the time we think we will be running all the renovations or the initial renovations to have a minimum standard for the rooms and all the facilities to be operating. She mentioned restrooms, I mentioned the rooms, technical support that need to be added, and some other things.
So you think 3 months is adequate?
Hopefully 3 months, for sure, 3 months.
Okay, when this 3 months, we're still going to have our food and beverage going on, correct?
Exactly. I mean, the minute we enter, we are given the possibility of running the operations. It is nonstop. Food and beverage services will not stop.
All right, thank you. That's all I have for now.
I got
Okay,
one more question.
Okay, Mayor, if I might,
It's-
just before you finish, you got me confused. You said 3 months. My colleague asked you a question a moment ago, and you've stretched it to 6.
No, no.
You need to think of two different things. I told them, we are thinking of 3 months for the time that it will take to renovate, to upgrade, and to add all the technical support and conditions that the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club needs to have a standard of operation according to our business proposal. But he then asked me, when do I think that we're going to have a business running in operation? Is that correct? And I said,
6.
well, let's move two things, because one thing is food and beverages. We will have the rooms and everything ready in 3 months, but we have to know, and that's our experience in the market, that no one comes to plan a wedding with 3 months in advance. So we think that 6 months period will be the time for events to start taking place at the golf, at the country club. You see what I mean?
Well, no, all I know is what you said initially.
Can I ask a question?
But
You know that we have special events that for the city, for instance, our daddy-daughter dance and other stand. Would you be within the contract? I don't know, how many days do we need the country club for?
we said 10 events.
10 events? You
We're ready to
understanding that?
comply
Your-
with
your
that. We're
obligation to
ready.
that is fine.
Yes.
Okay.
We understand it, no
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you.
That's part of the contract, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, may I ask
Geez,
one more
everybody asked
question?
a question. I didn't say nothing.
Okay.
I'm just
I
confirming what
wanted to ask you, with the Killian Palms Country Club right now, that's a private country club?
It's a private country
Country
club.
club.
Yes.
How is your communication between yourself and the management at Killian Palms right now? How do you?
Do you mean the
communicate? How
owners
of-
of
the owner,
Killian Palm?
yes.
We have excellent communications.
And how do you communicate? By meetings, telephone?
We do telephones, we do meetings, so it all depends on the needs. Like every month we have exchange in terms of everything, and that is always work to do together, because there are some things that have to do with the ownership, to call it somehow, some way. So yes, we have a close communication through the phones, through emails and meetings too.
About how often do you think you communicate? with them, say, on?
Like, let's say every week, every month. So there is always a need for communication for one or other reason.
Are you involved with any aspect of the golf at the Killian Palms Country Club, other than feeding the golfers? But,
No, we're not.
okay.
No, we're not. Yeah.
Okay, I want to wrap it up because it's going to be
It's
Fif-
well
have-
over
50
have-
minutes.
20 minutes.
Well, give me 10 seconds.
Sure.
One more question, sir. Based on your presentation, in your opinion, what is the difference between operating a private country club and a public country club?
Well, community oriented, so that's the difference. A public country club belongs to the city, and by the city I mean to the people that live in this city. So we will always respond to the needs and the interest of that city. I said before that before coming into this proposal, we went over what the city of Miami Springs is and the history. So the difference lies in there. That's why I'm standing here, not in front of one private owner, but in front of this honorable council and sharing our proposal with you, our points of view. So in a general consensus, you will decide who's best for this offer. Your consensus is your people's consensus.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Huh? Well, we started at, we went, what time? Yeah, but I thought I saw it on the 2. I thought we started the presentation on the 2, but, so 2, 4, 3, 4.
Thank you.
Yeah, we went over a little bit, but not a lot.
Thanks,
We
folks.
went over like
Good
Thanks very
luck.
much.
We got, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 29, 30, 39, 40, 45, 50. No, yeah, well, the next one is, yeah.
Greenhouse, yeah.
So that was 40 minutes, correct? 40 minutes?
Right
40
up, Bill.
minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
We want to try to keep it
Cost
fair.
lower.
No. We should obligate now to give everybody 40 minutes. That's fine, but well, we're here to listen to this and we'll discuss that when it's time.
We can't vote on it.
What did you mean
Yeah, we can vote on it. It's a special meeting.
We can move it forward.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
It's a
you mean,
special meeting.
like if we don't choose,
Yeah, that was,
start all over?
Yeah, we can direct them to, I'm asking, can we do that, right?
Yes.
yeah,
yes.
you have the right to reject all bids.
Yes.
And if we do, could we go back to them at the end?
If you reject all bids, can you go back
Yeah,
to whom?
either one of these folks.
If you reject all bids, essentially you thrown out the solicitation. So if you go back to one of them, it's technically
No.
a waiver of the competitive bid process going for them. Now, it's obviously not a full waiver or like a true waiver because you obviously had a procurement process. And if to the extent that any of the parties are willing to continue with the numbers that they were proffered, but essentially, if you're throwing out the bid, you're starting from scratch. And if you go back to them, it's a waiver.
So that means that they cannot reapply.
No, they certainly could if you did another solicitation. I mean, unless you debar or prevent them from putting in.
Debar.
Yeah, you could, seriously.
That sounds very like.
It's a formal proceeding where you don't allow someone to bid again for a particular reason. But other than that, they'd be able to apply again.
So, Billy, Mayor, Greenhouse now
Out
coming.
there.
Huh? Is the third one here? Okay.
Yeah, they're here.
They are here.
But I don't
Cool.
have a date tonight. I've gotta
Sports
have a
bar.
date.
So what I'll do,
Bill.
We'll do the same thing. We'll go the same way.
you want, you were gonna read them, or you want somebody else to?
An anchorman for the radio or something.
Bobby?
Okay, that's perfect. So timer's gonna go off at 10 minutes, okay? Once I
Got it.
hit it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ask,
He's not part of any group? Who?
I'll
Okay.
Where's he going? Where's he going?
Yes. League of Cities?
I have my questions. What, my baby? That's my baby. Hey, give me that. Give me the phone.
Yeah, that's the one. The staff.
Okay.
Uh,
You rolling?
We lost the mayor. Where's the mayor?
Talking to Johnny and Maria.
John and Christina, the proud parents of a doctor. Did you guys know that? Dr. Johnny Shapiro. No, trained by nothing, his parents, but just very proud.
You got it?
You don't want to make
Sending
it. I just got that. I just got that. She don't want to make breakfast for you. I just got that right now.
They're setting up a presentation.
This is a historical building? Yeah.
Wi-Fi, what is that?
Which guy?
I could go to the
He's using
bathroom
his own
probably.
hotspot. Yeah, you can go. Let me see that picture, Petrolanda. Let me see that picture. Maria, come here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
3 months.
Oh my goodness.
That's my little gordito. God bless him. God bless him. So cute. What's his name again? Blake.
Are you going to bring him in
Blake.
the 4th of July parade?
Erica, you wanna
Huh?
help?
Bring him in the 4th of July parade?
I'm gonna try. His parents are really.
I think it'd be adorable. Dress him in red, white, and blue.
Smiling.
He's always smiling.
This
He's
is an
unless
up,
he's
Mac?
hungry.
Is this the one, Matt? The white cable was
That's because-
supposed to be used for that or something. Yeah, okay, they're using it? Okay.
Father posted on Facebook, and that his wife follows my
Got it here.
mother.
HRS
That's why he has it.
Management, LLC. That's not the name of this.
Because it's a management, yeah, greenhouse. It's a management company, yeah.
HRS Management.
Yay. Okay.
ready?
Ready to roll. Oh, the mayor's in the bathroom.
Okay. Oh, we can't start without him.
Imagine that.
Look, you almost missed the presentation. Look.
So you can, yeah, you could be. Let's start like that? Okay, I think we're ready.
Ready?
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 Okay.
You may commence, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, all of you.
You already said.
And
Let's start.
my name is Patrick Kamash. I'm the president of the company, which is called HRS. And I basically studied in France, Cordon Bleu School, and then after that, hospitality school. My experience have been executive chef all the way to vice president of operations for the largest hotel company. And it's been an exceptional opportunity for us to come here in front of you. A lot of European experience, Middle East, South Africa, Central America, and North America. Some of our hotels have many, many food and beverage outlets, bars, restaurants, meeting space, so on and so forth, spas, golf course, some of them, tennis, and so on. Just to give you an idea, some of the properties we have in South Florida include the iconic Delano South Beach, the Mondrian, Shore Club, also the Grove Isle Hotel and Spa, based in Grove Isle. And so anyway, I'd like to introduce the team. Yannick will be the general manager. This is the executive chef. We're looking for a fourth person who's going to be running all the catering departments and selling as well. So without delay, Yannick.
My name's Yannick Kamash. I'll be the general manager of the food and beverage side of the country club. I went to Florida International University, studied business management, and minored in entrepreneurship. I have about 10 years of experience in the hospitality industry, working my way from the ground up, all the way up to managing multiple concepts throughout the city of Miami. I specialize in managing staff, creating efficient operational, I guess, parts of the restaurant and making sure that everything functions properly. And also managing bars is one of my specialties as well. In 2016, I finally decided to use my degree in business, and I launched my own concept, which is Greenhouse, with my business partner, Chef Mark.
Hi, I'm the executive chef. I've been in the industry for over 15 years, and I've been working in restaurants all over Dade County. I'm classically trained with a culinary degree from the Cordon Bleu. I have vast experience in culinary restaurant operations, catering, concept creation, employee development, menu writing, and cost management. I grew up on an avocado farm in Homestead, and so food has always been around me, my family. My mom's from Okinawa, Japan, and so she's always taught us about our heritage through food. In 2012, I opened a catering company, and then in 2016, I opened Greenhouse with Yannick. In 2017, we started a food truck, and we've been in business ever since 2017, feeding patrons our healthy bites all through South Florida. And so today we're here to present our concept to bring a fresh and vibrant wave of new food, fun, and service.
To talk about our mission statement, I want to mention that this is pretty much a two-part statement here. It's to be an inclusive and affordable community-based club and providing an enjoyable experience for golfers of all ages, including locals and the visitors coming through the Miami International Airport. Hit the next slide. The opportunities that we've noticed from the outside looking in from past tenants, and these are not to be negative, these are just factual things that we notice that we feel are true opportunities to increase the value of this property. And obviously the historical negative viewpoint from the locals of the city about the F&B operation side of it. The concepts we feel were slightly uninviting, and we feel that we will be offering some really, really nice concepts for the country club that would really, really invite all the locals and start having actual Miami Springers come out to the country club. The operational execution of the food and beverage side, and then of course the marketing, getting our name out to the people. The solutions for all of this would be focused execution, and excellence in guest experience. We would be introducing the new concepts, as I mentioned, scratch-made food menu for the bar area, and of course an extravagant cocktail and beer and wine list. We would be achieving all the financial goals that we set out in our plan, And of course, we would be, as much as we possibly can, involved in the community and transparent with all of our guests and of course with the city. We have a few revenue streams that we would be incorporating. Obviously, it'd be the 19th hole scratch kitchen and bar, which would be in the main bar concept. The greenhouse concept that you guys are familiar with, that has been around for a couple years now, would be going into the smaller area, into the grill room. And we would be turning that bar into a smoothie, juice, and coffee bar versus being an actual full liquor, beer, and wine bar. And of course, the banquets and the catering in the banquet hall would be a major focus in our operation as well. Now, finally, to introduce you the first concept that we're going to be bringing into the Majestic Room, it's going to be the 19th hole scratch kitchen and bar. This will be a scratch menu, which Chef Mark will be talking about shortly. We'll be incorporating a craft cocktail and a beer and wine list that I will be developing. We'll be offering daytime happy hour as well as late night happy hour options. The pool table, stage for live music. Every Sunday there will be a Sunday brunch with a full buffet for everybody to enjoy. And of course it'd be a pre-reception area for all of the major banquet events and catering events that we hold in the banquet hall. Mark, would you like to talk about the menu a little bit?
So we wanted to do something a little more innovative with our existing homegrown concept. We want to bring the fresh farm idea to the country club, creating a farm to course idea, bringing locally sourced farm fresh creations that are tasty and relatively healthy. We'll have great appetizers, fresh and hearty salads, tacos and sandwiches, certified Angus beef products, Bell & Evans poultry, and Nyman Ranch pork. And we'd also like to feature daily specials and promotional features.
This next concept is the concept that has been around for a couple of years now. And this is a health-conscious, quick and affordable, fast casual concept, which would be going in the grill room. This will be this juice and smoothie and coffee bar, as I mentioned. It's going to be in the pro shop where the pro shop, I guess, used to be. That will be the dining room where all of the guests will sit and enjoy their meals. And we would also be incorporating health-conscious cooking classes for kids and adults, which would be happening two times a month. Chef Mark will talk a little bit more about the menu for that concept.
So the greenhouse concept is to be a simple, healthy, and fast. The menu will be seasonal, local, and nutritional, featuring cold-pressed juices, smoothies, sandwiches, and quick bites, all from products from real local farms and purveyors. The cooking classes is a concept that teaches adults and children the foundations of basic healthy cooking, and classes should be held twice a month.
Just to show a little bit, a couple of things that we were able to participate in the past couple of years. We partnered with the Florida Panthers for each of the 2 past seasons, serving their season ticket holders and their patrons a select menu about 4 to 6 times a year. We've worked with them very closely, and we have a very good relationship with them. In the photo that you see at the bottom there is Mark and myself, and we plan to do the same thing with the Miami Heat shortly. This video, or in this upcoming season. The video that you see, Mark, if you could press play, this is something that we were able to participate in, and this shows a little bit of our community experience. Mark was able to be a celebrity guest judge for Broward County Schools seniors in a culinary tournament that he participated in. Now, hopefully, the Wi-Fi allows us to. Perfect.
The 4th annual Broward County High School Pro Star Culinary Chef Competition going on here in the BB&T kitchens to put together their awesome dishes for the celebrity judge team to try out. Really fun, get to see where the culinary world is going and kind of see, takes me back to days when I was back in middle school and high school and doing cooking, and seeing influences and just seeing young minds starting to come together and starting to see where they're going with their lives, and just playing with food and having fun, which is what I got into this for, and just seeing where everything's moving in the future.
it's great for the community. I think it's very important for kids, especially at a young age, to learn how to cook and get into the industry. The more you know, the more you can excel in this industry. So it's good to have them get started and get in the vibe of doing the competition. Spent last week going to 3 different schools, speaking to a whole lot of them, and really came away with a great impression about the future of staffing for our kitchens down the road.
To me, it means so much that the Florida Panthers partner with us on this and so many other things. They are one of our strongest partners. And in partnering with us, they're bringing incredible opportunities for our kids, and hopefully they're getting the opportunity to market what they do, so it's a win-win with our students. And to have them again here, practicing, prepping, having to do it in a specified time period, and have these real-life experiences, that's what education's all about.
So if you wrap it up, it's 10 minutes.
Is that the 10-minute mark?
That was the 10-minute mark already. Yes.
This was some of the things that we're able to do. We definitely want to be involved with the community. In the next slide that we won't be able to present, it showed a banquet video that we did at the beginning of introducing Greenhouse to the general public. We raised a few $1,000s through a GoFundMe account, invited 65 exclusive guests to this event, and put on a 9-course tasting for these guests. It was an amazing experience. We got it all on camera, but
How long, excuse me, sir,
yes. Sorry.
how long would it take for you to, for us to see that? Would you be going
like-
over your limit, or?
About it's like about a 2-minute and like 30-second video.
My colleagues, but I would like to see that.
So would I.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Your beard was a little shorter.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you notice.
Oh, you want me to, Mary, you want me to run the questions now?
If there, you
Are you guys finished with your presentation? Okay, okay. All right, well, let's get started.
Yes, sir.
If awarded a contract, what are your plans for the country club facility? Please elaborate on your operational plan / business plan.
Operational plan would be to bring in 2 different concepts and fill up both of the restaurant locations inside the country club. One would be greenhouse inside the grill room, and the other one would be the 19th hole scratch kitchen and bar inside the Majestic room. We would be running greenhouse for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week, and then we would be running the Majestic room for lunch and dinner, which would be the 19th hole for lunch and dinner 7 days a week as well. Be doing different events for golfers, for different catering and banquets events as we schedule them and book them. And we would, as my dad mentioned, we would also be having a sales manager booking events, and that would be the main focus of this manager. Would you like to add something? You want to add a little bit about the kitchen?
Well, I mean, both concepts, the 19th hole and greenhouse, will both feature locally sourced farm-to-table concepts. So largely part of what we do is locally source in Homestead all the way to Delray, and we only try to exclusively use those products and promote that, trying to give back to the community and so forth.
What do you mean, give back to the community? What does that mean?
Well, we support the local farmers, so giving back to the farmers.
We don't have any farming in Miami Springs.
Not in Miami Springs, no, but Miami-Dade County, yes.
Okay.
Cousins.
So he actually grew up on an avocado farm down south.
Yeah, no, he mentioned that
I know
earlier.
I know you got the story. But all of these concepts are really to create change and to really feel like when you're walking in, you're not walking into the old country club. We want to create a certain experience that's memorable and that people can really come back and enjoy.
Like an aura that they will appreciate.
Or that they would appreciate,
Right.
absolutely.
The second question I have for you, or that we have for you, is do you have any anticipated capital improvements planned? If so, what are they? And what is your time frame for beginning and completion of them?
Basically, the pro shop right now is pretty much empty in Desiree, and this is going to be greenhouse. We're anticipating to rebuild the bar for the coffee bar, the juice bar. We do the dining room to portray the greenhouse concept. So it's going to be, I would say, looked at it between the furniture, the redecorating, some of the kitchen, that 110-feet kitchen that doesn't really function. It's going to be redone completely as a separate restaurant. It's going to be called Greenhouse. So that's, I would say, about $50,000 to $75,000 investment right in there. And then in the cigar bar, where the sports bar is going to go, we're going to add a stage in there. We hopefully we'll have a band in there, at least on the weekends, pool tables. We're going to add more decorations. We're going to have more sports in there, more like soccer and baseball and so on and so forth. So.
As some would ask, would you have karaoke as well?
I know we will look at it. We will look at it, and definitely if we need to have it for the community again. Remember we said we're going to be supporting the community. I know it's big down here. Down here in Miami Springs, Saboris, they used to do it, and they always back. So we look at it for sure. If need to be, we'll have it. So.
Thank you, sir.
Could I ask a question leading to that with the capital improvement? So how much do you anticipate? You said 50 to 75,000 for the sports
Greenhouse.
For the greenhouse,
Right.
and then some other improvements.
Sports
for
bar, I would say about $30,000 to $35,000 more.
Okay, so we're talking about, say, 105,000, somewhere around
Correct,
that.
correct,
What
correct.
assurances would we have that that money's available?
I'm sorry,
at
excuse me?
first? What assurances would we have that you have that money available for capital
The
improvements?
funds,
At the beginning? Would you
we
be
can
willing
put-
to put it in a separate account?
absolutely,
As a
absolutely. It's
performance
going to be
bond?
part of the LLS company that we have, and it's going to be open to the
Okay.
city manager to anybody to see the accounts.
And how soon do you anticipate that you would make these use this money for the capital
Depending
improvements?
if the agreement, if we get the agreement, and we're selected to be the one to do that, then I would say within a couple of weeks we'll have all the funding available. 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware also that the restrooms
Yes.
need
Needs
renovation
help,
in
needs
near the
help.
banquet room? That's probably going to
Not
take
only
some.
I can go into the list if you want me to. There is a major issues as far as the look of the entire property. I mean, where the country club is. It has to be an experience. It has to be. I mean, the grounds are deleted pretty much. You're looking back at the pre-reception area outside of the bar room. That needs to be completely redone. You look at the entrance. The entrance, it looks like a supermarket entrance to me. When you go to the bar room area and the sports bar to the right, that needs to be improved. And the sitting area, the outside sitting area, we do have quite a few smokers in Miami Springs. I'm aware of that. So the area there in front of the sports bar needs to be redone where it can be comfortable, where you can sit in, enjoy and experience the outdoors. So that's important to us as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Next question I have for you is, the facility has a banquet, sports bar, and an outside patio. How do you anticipate on integrating the use of these areas?
Very, sorry, great question. Well, where the pro shop is right now, like we said, like Yannick said, it's going to be the greenhouse, open breakfast, lunch, 7 days a week. The sports bar will be open. We're going to do brunch every Sunday. The outdoors, right by the sports bar there, the same thing will be open 7 days a week. Now, the biggest challenge that we may have, which we won't have, I think, if you can listen to me for a second, is during the big weddings, this is a pre-reception area. You need to open to have a function pre-reception. You have to do the cocktail hour and all that. We're going to be able to open greenhouse for dinner. So the regulars, they want to have just a dinner, they can go to the greenhouse, have your dinner. And we'll have over 220 people wedding reception in the sports bar. We do the cocktail hour, the butler passed hors d'oeuvres. They go in at 8 o'clock, 8:30 into the ballroom. They have their dinner.
So you're suggesting you could segregate that and have both going on
Absolutely,
simultaneously?
absolutely. We're looking at the weddings. Usually, we need to understand the forecast I looked has been sent to me. There's only one wedding for next 2020. That's not booked even yet. So weddings people who book their weddings way 6 months ahead of time. Parties, corporate events, all that, they don't just do it, oh, let me go have a meeting tomorrow or a wedding tomorrow. It's going to take time. It's going to take time.
Sure.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Question with the greenhouse. I believe when you showed your presentation and you had a photo of the greenhouse grill, we anticipated you had a photo of your food truck there also.
Yeah.
Are you anticipating having a food truck out by the greenhouse on the out?
So the food truck was actually put there because we feel that that's like a perfect PR and or marketing tool. So we'll be running greenhouse out of the grill room, but then for different events such as the River Cities Festival or different local events over here that are requesting these, we do have the option to send out the food truck as well.
Okay, but you don't anticipate having the food truck out by the greenhouse on a normal basis operating?
We would be interested in doing that, but that's also kind of a tricky scenario as well to run that. But if that's something that would be allowed by the city, we'd definitely be open to doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's something.
Go ahead.
There's a few, the Lions Club, the Optimist Club, the Women's Club. I'm pretty much part of all this organization. I work with them all the time. Every day they request trucks that will be used as a great marketing tool for the country club. And we'll be more than happy to support all this organization for the city.
Okay. Next question we have for you is, knowing that the city's priorities are the golfers, how do you intend on accommodating them?
So the juice, smoothie, and coffee bar will be perfect for the golfers. That's going to be the first part of the country club that's going to be opening, and we'll be opening for breakfast and lunch. So very first thing, 7 a.m., which is the first tee, if I'm not mistaken, will be open and readily available for all the golfers' needs. I know
7 a.m.
7 a.m., right? Was that correct?
No, I'm asking. You said it. I'm just asking.
Yes.
That's early.
It is.
That's when guys tee off.
Yeah, people tee off at 7 a.m. And imagine teeing off without coffee.
No.
What kind of menu do you anticipate, though, for, say, they tee off at 7, they're going to be arriving at 10, 10:15, 10:30, like that, for their,
Like as if they were ready for lunch at that time, you're
Well,
saying, or just any?
kind of a lunch, brunch, or something, you
So-
know, that they've been golfing since 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning?
So we actually,
So what are you going to have?
in the past couple of years, or actually about a year ago, we launched a brunch menu for Greenhouse, and we were doing it at different breweries on Sundays, and we were running it from the moment that they opened till around 11:30 or 12, kind of simultaneously running two menus from 11 to 12, opening our lunch menu at 11 a.m., but then also still having our brunch menu available.
Could you give me an idea of what kind of food you anticipate for that as
Absolutely.
a brunch menu for golfers?
Well, the particular brunch menu that he's referring to shared a lot of, it had salads on it, it had soups on it, it had eggs, oatmeal,
Had an amazing spicy tomatillo egg wrap that was the biggest.
wraps and salads.
He made scratch-made jams and jellies from.
Get to the microphone. If you're gonna talk to the microphone, so everybody can hear you.
Chef Mark made scratch-made local jams and jellies featuring organic breads that were locally sourced as well from Zach the Baker in Wynwood. As far as coffee goes, we had espresso cappuccinos, cortaditos available, coladas for those who wanted, fresh pressed juices as well, and smoothies, of course.
One of the problems over the years in this town, not just relative to what we're talking about this evening, but
Right.
is some of these venues get too cute, and like normal things,
Mhm.
and you're like out of the box here with some of the stuff.
Well, yes, that, and then we do,
Especially with relative to golfers.
as the mayor mentioned, we do have a classic egg, bacon,
Okay.
and cheese and toast sampler that comes with coffee and orange juice as well.
All right.
Yes, of course.
Okay. How many years of experience do you have in the food and beverage industry? And please explain in some
You wanna go
detail.
on that?
My background, basically, like I said earlier, is graduated from Cordon Bleu, the real Cordon Bleu, not the one from the U.S., sorry, in Paris, and worked as executive chef as well, many years. I have about 30 years of experience in food and beverage, more or less, combining everything from the chef, director of food and beverage, general manager, director of operation, vice president of operation. It's about 30 years, more or less.
Okay.
And that's from even creating new concepts throughout the world. I mean, from Middle East to Qatar to Mexico to all those places. So that's about 30 years. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question with that. So I understand, Jonik and Mark, you got together 2 years ago, and then the three of you, how did you come together?
He's my father.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I've known him for a little while
I
now.
didn't know that. Thank you.
But he's always been supporting our concept since it's been launched. And now with the country club becoming available for a bid, it was kind of the perfect opportunity for us to combine our forces and work together and make something great. And in total, between the three of us, we have about 55 years of experience.
Okay, Yannick, I'm going to ask you one final question.
Okay.
Why should we consider you as being our new food and beverage operator? Why?
I think because we're in it for the long haul. We're not just in it for a 2 or 3 or 5 year time span. We would like to renew given the opportunity at the end of the 5 years, and we want to make a change, like I mentioned before. So we're here to offer an experience, something that people, not just Miami Springers, but people from around the city can come and look forward to joining and experiencing. So I think
And you think you can pull this off?
very confident.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
And we are from Miami Springs. We live in Miami Springs.
Any questions?
So the two questions I had before have already been answered, which is what makes you different than other venues, and also what plans to attract the public, those here and those outside. So you've already answered that.
I have two questions that I've asked earlier. The first one is, you're going to need a new staff.
Yes.
Are you okay with keeping the one that we currently have there?
We would definitely reevaluate everything, and we would sit down and interview every single person that's currently there, and then evaluate and make sure that if they are the right fit, we can consider it. But if they're not the right fit, we do and create a change as well. So there would be considerations on hiring new staff, but as well as retaining as well, depending on who they are and what they can provide.
Okay, the other one was pretty much you're starting something from the ground up. So how long do you think it's going to take you to be viable? I think you said 6 months for the.
Well, any concept you start from the ground up. Usually catering, like I said, any booking, it's 6 months out. That's banquets. There's nothing in the books right now. Like I said, there's one wedding, I believe, and there's maybe a couple meetings here and there. So it's going to take, for catering part of it, it's going to take about 6 months to have, pretty much every weekend booked, Friday, Saturday, and then some corporate meetings locally that we can get. As far as the outlets, I believe that our reputation that we have, that I have, that Yannick have, and then the kind of concept we're going to create in there, the quality of the food and the service, the experience we're going to get, and the marketing, social media we're going to do. We're going to hire a company that's going to do all the social media for us, all marketing throughout the city. I think we're going to be, honestly, I would say to myself, it's going to be, Greenhouse will take off probably a couple months down the road. It's going to do very well. The sports bar, I believe within a month or so, it's going to take off. So.
The other thing I mentioned to the other company was the last thing is that I'm, sure cater to the golfers, but I think we should also cater to other folks to come into the restaurants.
I totally agree. The golfers are given. They're here.
Right.
And the only thing is if they're here, they enjoy what we do, they're going to come back. They're going to love it there. Now, we're going to go out there and look for some business, more business outside of Miami Springs. Around this area within 10 miles or 15 miles or whatever. So we'll do that as well, absolutely.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just one more thing. Mr. Kamish. I just got this feeling that with this operation here, that you're going to be contributing heavily toward it relative to what you do for a living.
Absolutely.
Is that in place?
It is in place. My travels are reduced. I told my boss, Mr. Jones, that I'm tired of traveling as much as I do. I can tell you, I can assure you that my travels are cut at least 75% right now.
You're looking for a home-based operation that you can live with.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I got a question. I want to confirm the operation that. As far as you're concerned, as far as if you would get the contract, you would be immediately ready to serve the golfers, though?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And your hours would be from?
In the morning, we're looking at 7, Greenhouse, 7 in the morning to about, for breakfast, to about whatever. And then lunchtime, about 11, maybe 10:30, 11, to about 3 o'clock.
And that'll be moved to the other room?
Yes. The other room will be open for lunch and dinner as well.
Right.
So because some people, they don't like to go drink beer right off the bat. They want to go have a coffee, a fresh juice. I do too, but it's just like the way it is. So.
And the last in your closing hours?
Closing hours would be Greenhouse, depending how business is, probably 6 maybe. And then as far as the bar, that would be, I would say 2 a.m. in the morning.
2 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And then the last thing is you're aware of the 10 events that the city needs to use the room for?
Yes, I am. Very much aware.
For different things like the
yes, it's not a big
father-daughter dance and everything.
Yeah, 365 days out of the year, 10 days is no big deal.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Greenhouse.
I wonder how long that beard will be in 5 years.
I told them that if we win the bid, I'm going to cut it. So
okay.
We're looking for the next best thing.
That sounds good.
We have the last one. Can we have a break?
Okay. All right. We're going to take 5 minutes.
Thank you.
For a break, and then we'll come back. They can get all set up.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dan looks so relaxed today. He's got his whole sports thing going on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Summer casual at the office has begun this week.
Ay, Dios. Oh my gosh, I need some major work. No, no. Like this Luna Spa over at Merrick Park. No, there's a guy, a doctor there, Dr. Chan. He does phlebotomies and like the veins, no veins. Yeah, he's great. I'm way over here. Oh, that. No, estoy del carajo, mira. At the Elements? What is that? Muy caro, ¿no? Muy caro. Oye, I'm dying to tell you something. No, please, I'm dying. Just know that when I do tell you, you'll realize that I've been dying to. But I can't tell you yet. Hi. ¿Qué es esto?
Right, that was nice.
So, what do I need to hook up? Oh.
How you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Um,
And then I add other stuff, but the other stuff ends up coming home because of weight.
We're gonna blame Mitchell. We're gonna blame Mitchell.
My mother, not for me.
I'm selling a Volkswagen. Yeah. No, a regular, super, 71 Super B.
Making me hungry. The rain is.
There should have been express instructions to bring samples.
Is that right? Yes, a little trace. And you know, I love, no, and I love finger food. I am not like a dinner eater. I like little finger bites and all. When you see all the pictures that I know, it's making me hungry.
Napkins.
Yeah.
so have you heard from our, yeah? Oh, good. Which one do you normally go to?
Yeah, I go to one that's awesome. He's in Miami Beach.
For what, for the back?
Hmm?
Did you like those pictures I took at Memorial Day?
The ones that I shared on Facebook. Yes, they were great. Well, you know, I was out of town because of my daughter's wedding, so I wasn't here for Memorial Day. I flew in. We flew back Monday night from Atlanta.
Mine is out of my
It's
network.
$75.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I take it out of my HSA.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Well, you know, they were wonderful pictures, very clear, and I know I got a lot of likes and. Good. No, they were great. Yeah, I shared them right away. I'm sorry I missed a certain. I always like those so much. Our daughter had a wedding. Our
What?
daughter had a wedding outside of Atlanta.
Sydney. How are you?
4 days, starting Friday through Monday. Friday at brewery to Monday breakfast.
Really?
It was a long wedding. It was a ton of fun, but I was like,
We're spent.
we got back Monday night, and I was like this on the plane, like
Need
just.
10 hours sleep.
But I got my voice back.
You got your what?
Voice back, thank goodness.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Great guest
I
last
knew you
night.
would be happy.
So we're ready?
No, but in the mornings it's hoarse, and it's gotten better.
The last night was good.
Hey,
Yeah.
who changed the gavel?
So when we're ready, I'll go to 10-minute timer.
Gavel.
Who did
A
that to
timer
you?
will go off in 10 minutes. That's when
I
you should be
wasn't
done
even
with your
here, so you know.
presentation, okay?
Alrighty, I have a question.
Yes.
Would you prefer the handouts before? I'll ask the commission, would you prefer the handouts before so that you can follow along, or afterwards?
Hand them out, that's fine.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of food pictures in here.
And we're hungry, so that
Very
doesn't-
hungry now,
So,
The other one. Look at him.
We're hungry.
They're cheerleaders.
I'll be very brief, and you can hand them out while I'm doing that.
Sure.
Does that work? Okay.
Absolutely.
So whenever,
So, well,
whenever
again,
they're
we'll
ready
start
for
here.
us.
whenever you're ready, I'll
Ready.
spread the timer and we're going.
Well,
First of all, thank you very much for allowing us to come.
Gotta get to the speaker so it's recorded outside.
I'd like to thank you all for allowing us, Sports Grill, to come represent ourselves for your RFP. I'm Eric Haas. I am the founder. Lori, my wife, and Christine and Mike Anderson. We are the principals. And I would just like to, I was going to come and tell you a little bit about Sports Grill, but she will be able to do that better than I. I just want to let you know that we are, myself, Spike, are native Miamians. My work, full-time work began in Miami Springs at Eastern Airlines. My wife also. We met at Eastern, started off as flight attendants, and worked all the way until the end of Eastern. We saw the writing on the wall and opened up Sports Grill in Sunset. That was 32 years ago. Miami Springs is an old home for me because I used to go to Holloman's. I used to go to Hunter's Lounge. We used to, Bryson's was one of our favorite spots. Billy's Seafood was another one that we've enjoyed. So I know the area quite well. Eastern Airlines had a very strong time here. So I would like to let you know we are community. We believe in our community. You will see that later. But thank you for letting us be here, and hopefully we can work together. Thank you. Christine?
You have the slide in front of you as it relates to each of our roles and so forth and who we are. You know, what Eric just said is so true. From Sports Grill's perspective, you know, more than 30 years ago, we've become really a family favorite and a destination location. And as you'll see, not only are we a destination location, but we have our community that very strongly supports us, both through the Miami New Times, winning several different awards from them. We were featured, Eric and Spike, with Man vs. Food through the Food Network. And that was a lot of fun for them in terms of really being able to put our brand out there and create more awareness. And then just recently winning the Munch Madness Award this last March with a complete voting system of all of our guests, our fans, and so forth. But we came from the lowest seed, 16th seed, to win the championship, as it were, like March Madness and so forth, for 64 different competitors. So we're really proud of that. As Eric said, Sports Grill Sunset is our original location and has been there for more than 30 years. This restaurant really gave birth to the Special Grilled Wings, but not just the Special Grilled Wings, but who we are within the community. The reason that Eric and Lori started this brand is so that people had a place in community, so that people could come and find a place where they could be not only respected, but welcomed, and that it was understood that it was a local place for them to be and to feel as though they knew they were in a place where they were safe. Additionally, when Eric opened up Kendall more than 10 years ago, This location was a Steak and Ale previously. A lot of people still remember it as a Steak and Ale. With the Sports Grill signage and so forth, it really became that identifier for us at Sports Grill, and has even created more identification with respect to who we are, again, within our culture being community-based, team-based. What we featured here is the different teams that we have within our framework that we work with, not only with hockey, this one specifically, focusing on hockey. Andrew here, who is our corporate attorney, you see the one with the large trophy there in the center, his team is up top. So we do sponsor them. They come into the restaurant, they bring their family and their friends, and we really do create that open environment as it relates to teams and people that want to spend time in our restaurants. This is another example of the Deering Estate, which Eric explained to earlier. He's not only on the board of directors, but he's the former president for. We've been involved at the Seafood Festival as the only land food, as it were, not seafood, for the last 14 years. And we have the ability to serve more than 10,000 guests there. We have been doing this, again, for 14 years. It's always a great success. Our staff, who's pictured here, really does enjoy it, and we have a great time. Eric and Lori are also they both continue to be very involved in the Deering Estate, as does Sports Grill, in terms of some of the philanthropic things that we do. More importantly, the recent film that was produced on this land, a documentary. Lori, who's part of the 100 Ladies of Deering Estate, had a big role in this piece, and this is really something that we're really proud of, that we're a title sponsor for. This is our South Miami location. South Miami is South Miami Coral Gables. We've been open for just about 9 years now, and this is when I joined the organization. I previously worked for Burger King for 33 years. I was with not only the operational side of the business, but also the purchasing side of the business. And Eric and my CEO have a relationship in that they're neighbors. We became close and talked about how the business could potentially evolve. And I came on board after 33 years, as I say, with Burger King, so that we could help grow the brand. So this is just an example of some of the things that have come about at our location in South Miami. We opened with great success because of the brand and the brand awareness in the marketplace. Soccer is one of the things that are really clearly featured in this restaurant, along with football and every other sporting event. But here in particular, we do have a really good, strong foothold here with this particular sport. Additionally, much like the Deering Estate, we also have Make-A-Wish. We are strong supporters of Make-A-Wish, and we are partners with Make-A-Wish. And for the last 5 years, we've been able to donate, just this last year, $250,000 and granting 50 wishes for children with life-threatening illnesses. We have a wing eating contest in the back of the restaurant. You can see here, the hands up, because they have to be able to clean the whole wing to see who wins the contest. And in addition to that, we have also, it's a big block party, so we close off the back of the streets. We work with Coral Gables. We work with that whole city to ensure that we have all the right, the permitting and everything is done in conjunction with their request, and it goes really, really well. So this last year was our 5th year. We're actually going to have to look at how we can expand the venue this year and potentially move even down the street. So we're really proud of that and what we've been able to do. This is our restaurant in Pembroke Pines. It is our one location in Broward County. Again, when we came into Broward County, not a whole lot of awareness to Sports Grill at the time. However, now what we've been able to do, as you can see here, not only step into more of the catering role within this particular location because of the size, as well, we've had an opportunity to really show the community how we can continue to support them as well. This is our golf course location, Sports Grill Palmetto Golf Course. We've been there for about 4 years now. Here we have an opportunity, even though we have a very small footprint, we were able to expand outside into the patio, which is the photos on the left there that you'll see. Specifically here, we have the local families and so forth that know about Sports Grill, and again, because of the created brand, we've been able to bring them in and continue to serve them the way that we have in all of our other restaurants. However, we have a community room next door where you can see here we've got the ability to expand into, we do different catering events, whether it be golf or outside events as well. Additionally, through our other catering services, we have the opportunity, as you can see with this large warehouse here. This was a fishing tournament where we catered to, Spike, correct me, more than 2,000 people, I want to say? close to 2,000 people. St. John Newman. St. John Newman, yes. Yep, and we've done the Billfish as well. In this case also, you can see where we've got other catering opportunity here with different golfers and different locations, Palmer Trinity and so forth, and we've done this for several years, and we've always been asked to come back. This is just really the last kind of piece that you can see about who we are. Yes, we're a sports grill. Yes, we are a family restaurant that has a sports theme. What we're not is a bar, okay? And that's, I know Lori and Eric, we stand really fast on that. We are a family restaurant. We're in the community. This is what's important to us. Our children, you see our kids, you see our Instagram posts with our servers who engage with our guests. Eric Spolstra comes into our restaurant in South Miami. He knows that when he comes in that he's going to be welcome and he's not going to be harassed. And that's really, really important to us, and we protect that. So what we want you to know is that we have longevity. We've been in the business for more than 30 years. We do have great food. People love our food. Bird Road, right? Sunset Location, et cetera. Our people are fantastic. I will tell you that we could not do what we do without our people. We have an amazing staff. We have an amazing representation of people, some as long as 30 years that started with Eric when he first opened the restaurant, and others that we've only just recently started to hire in because promoting from within as we've been growing has become a little bit more difficult, but people are assimilating into our culture right away. We appreciate our community. We appreciate the ability that we have to not only cater to the community, but continue to grow the brand. So that being said, I'll leave it here with this. Thank you very much for your time, and we really do appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Of course. You mean we didn't answer them all?
No, you can, no, my dear, you can state the well, please.
I just want to make sure I put down the clicker so I don't go all over the place.
That's all right.
Vice Mayor, if I may indulge,
Sir, Councilman.
Just one question. Do you serve coffee in your restaurants?
Yes.
And if not, why not? Or will you?
Serve coffee?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, thank you. I was asked to ask that question.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do serve coffee in our restaurants. And if we have a restaurant that doesn't sell coffee, you need to let me know and I'll take care of that.
Okay.
I'm making a note. Coffee.
Got it. You'll fix that right directly, right?
Directly.
Okay. All right. A couple questions for you.
Sure.
If you're ready. If awarded a contract, what are your plans for the country club facility? Please elaborate on your operational/business plan.
Our plans for the country club facility. Well, I think you've seen it pretty clearly in our RFP response that that is not something that is one of our strengths. However, what we do plan to do is to work with the current resource base that you have available. We'd like to be able to enlist their help and understand what they've done in the past to be able to serve through any of the catering components. As well, we do have two different catering companies that we've already begun to research who could come in from outside based on what your RFP did articulate, that we could have people come in from outside with that and be able to work with them in our space.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Secondly, do you have any anticipated capital improvements planned? If so, what are they? And what is your time frame for beginning/completion?
Well, let's first talk about some of the different capital improvements as it relates to what we saw very briefly on our tour. We've articulated all of those through the RFP as it relates to hood systems and so forth, potentially different pieces of equipment that might be necessary specifically because of our brand and because of our products that will be necessary for us to produce them to our specification. I think the other thing that will be very interesting for us to see is how contextually it fits into our decor and our decor package. But those are things that are small on the decor side and certainly the aesthetics of it that can be built through. As it relates to timing, there's two pieces. There's what we call the grill piece, which would be your front piece. We would like to look at that more as a cafe. So maybe from a coffee side, that's where we were kind of thinking about that piece of it, is looking at that being more of a cafe, something more like a bistro-ish kind of a thing where we've got the opportunity to get the quick piece served, coffee, drinks, even certainly beers, wine, and different soft drinks and so forth. But at the same time, that particular area, we would envision a 2-week turnaround time to be able to get that up. Maybe, again, not aesthetically being 100% to where we would like it to be, because I do have a vision for what I think we can turn that into, and really making it a little bit more upscale, I think, for the club, and making it to be something more of a gathering place, yet not a let's sit for hours and really talk. That would be for the restaurant space. As it relates to the restaurant component, I have to be honest, until we can get in and really do some analysis as it relates to our brand, as long as we've been in business, we've never walked into a space and said, yes, we can turn it around like that. There has to be specifics because of our brand and because of our specifications that we won't take any shortcuts on, let's say.
I appreciate your honesty in that.
Councilman, Vice Mayor, if I can ask some more questions on that with the capital improvements. And I understand with the capital improvements, some of it you're saying you need for the kitchen, I'm going to call kitchen equipment.
Correct.
To be able to make the wings and the food that
Right.
is unique to your restaurant. But what about other capital improvements for the facility? You've done a walkthrough of the facility. Can you give me an idea of other capital improvements that you anticipate or you expect to make with the facility itself?
Are you speaking of the restaurant side and
The
let's say
entire-
3 different
yes,
pieces? So
yes.
because the RFP really focused on 3 different components. You've got the front part of the grill, which again, from a capital improvement perspective, yes, aesthetically, there's some things that need to be done, and there's some real equipment needs that need to be addressed in that space to be able to make it anything that really could produce right off the bat. As to the restaurant component itself, again, without having gotten up and into the hoods, understanding the refrigeration system, because our product is fresh. We don't bring anything in frozen. So it's really important that from a food safety perspective, we have all of those things, mapped out. As it relates to the catering side of it, again, to be quite frank, I don't think that that's something outside of the RFP and how we responded that I would change our answer to. We really need to get in and understand it. We need to look at it. We need to experience it and see if there's anything different that would need to be done. For right now, the changes that have been made from what we saw the first time we came in and looked at this as an RFP to where we are today, you did a great job.
So just with the RFP, what have you put in there as far as capital improvement? Have you put a specific fund
We did.
amount?
I
What was
did.
that?
We outlined things, as I said.
But I mean the amount. Can you tell me what the amount? is
Spike helped me out on that with the specific amount overall, I believe was a little over 100,000.
It's not in the RFP. It was a very brief time that we were able to.
Come to the microphone.
Okay. About
It's
170,000?
about 170,000, yeah.
Okay. and
Between equipment, mostly the biggest thing is our beer lines, really. The beer capacity, coolers, again, making sure that we have the right refrigeration for the food safety of the equipment, or the food processing, excuse me.
And then with that of anticipated, say, 170,000 in capital improvements, what assurance would we have that that money's available and that you can use that for capital improvements from the beginning?
It's
Would you be
100%
willing-
available today.
Would you be willing to put that aside in a separate account and performance bond?
Of course.
A separate bank account?
Of course.
So that we know that that's available?
100%.
Okay. And how soon after would you anticipate being able to start on the capital improvements? Within, once we agree, say if we were to agree to have you be our food and beverage.
We could start, again, in response to the RFP and what, the way we
capital
stated it.
improvements.
Again, very specifically, because we've done this many times. The grill, the front cafe, that's a quick turnaround. We can get that done in as little as 2 weeks. As it relates to the restaurant, we would look at least 30 days.
Okay.
Because we would want, again, the aesthetics in the dining room, we could go in and it's turnkey. We could start if everything were pristine in the back and it fit within our capacity to be able to prepare our food properly and to our specification, because we will not put our brand at risk. We could turn the key at tomorrow and then do all of those other kind of aesthetic improvements over time. But without the hoods, without the refrigeration, without that proper holding, we can't guarantee that. So we would need at least 30 days.
Okay. And one last thing with that, with the capital improvements, and I don't know if you, when you did your walkthrough, you noticed it, but it's my understanding that the restrooms near the banquet area are in need of renovations.
We did
which
notice
might-
it.
Okay, and that would be, is that something you've considered to put into the capital improvements?
We did not, because through the RFP and reading all of the subsequent amendments, it was understood that that would be the responsibility of the club.
The renovations to the restaurants?
Correct, to make them ADA compliant.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The next question I have for you, thank you, Councilwoman. The facility has a banquet, obviously a sports bar, and an outside patio.
Yes.
How do you anticipate on integrating the use of these areas?
I'm so glad you asked that, because that was something that we did at the golf course and the Palmetto Golf Course that took us a little bit of time, but once we figured it out, it has become one of the single most important things, I think, that really draw people in to that space. They've got a beautiful view of the golf course, in addition to just being able to be outside and be in an environment that's comfortable, that we've made comfortable because of that. We've added seating. We've had an opportunity to put fans in. We've put more televisions so that, again, it becomes more of a viewing space if necessary. If not, it's very welcoming for family and so forth. Integration as it relates to the restaurant specifically and the banquet room, I don't know that that would be the case. But again, we don't have enough experience in that for me to be able to say one way or the other if that would be appropriate. If, in fact, we have an opportunity for a golf, let's say a golf tournament like we do now with our community room, then of course there's a natural fit. You know, everything can work together, absolutely. Inside, outside, on the front patio, on the small, again, the bistro patio as well. I'm sure all of that can be handled. If we can handle 1,000 to 2,000 people in the situation in South Miami in our back parking lot, I'm relatively confident we can handle it throughout each of those different locations.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I do have a follow-up question with the, I feel very confident that as far as handling our golfers, coming in, your sports bar and grill, is right up their alley. It would be something great for the community. A little more concerned with the catering part of it.
Okay.
So can you expand with the Palmetto, what is the?
Palmetto Golf Course?
Golf course,
Mhm.
the catering that you do there. You said you have an outside source? You're looking for an outside source for our?
No, for our in-house catering, we do all of that ourselves. So anything that would be, for instance, our men's league that we have out of the golf course, when we do the St. John's Newman fishing tournament, we do all of that catering internally. But it's not to the degree where it's a fine dining type of a catering situation. Golfing catering, local catering, school catering, pulling out our trucks, pulling out our grills, getting all of our supplies ready, ensuring that we have all the right food products and the food safety and so on and so forth, not a problem. We've got that down. We just did a Memorial Day weekend celebration as well at the Palmetto Palmetto Bay, thank you, and the Deering Estate as well. So, all of those things locally, not a problem. The catering component that I was speaking of in terms of looking outside are your larger events and some of the things that we've seen on the calendar, whether it be a wedding. We could cater a sports car wedding, no problem, if somebody really wants that part of it. But our experience as it relates to more of a fine dining experience, we don't have that. So we would outsource it for now until we learn and understand it. And once we have that ability, we would absolutely develop someone in-house so that we could take all of that on and manage it within our own.
So at the Palmetto Golf Course right now, you don't do catering for, say, events like a wedding?
Not for a wedding.
You're outsourcing it.
There are
weddings, but
they would be
pardon me,
sports
okay,
girl
they're
weddings,
just, but
exactly.
you're not
Casual
okay,
weddings.
So those.
But I will say, our holiday party this last year, we decided not to take it out to another location, but instead have it on our patio at the golf course. And within our own team, we did all of our own cooking and all of our own catering for that. And it was not Sports Grill.
The Palmetto Golf Course is privately owned?
Dade County.
It's Dade County.
Correct.
Okay. Can you tell me, how do you communicate with Dade County? I guess there's a golf director. How does that expand a little bit on your communication with well, first of all, let me ask, you're not involved with the golf part of it at all, just the food and beverage?
Just the food and beverage, yes.
Okay, and so how do you communicate with the golf
Very
director?
well.
And how does that happen? By personally, by phone?
Personal, phone, email, But typically, we call up Steve, he picks up the phone, calls us back, what have you, very responsive.
About how often would you say you communicate with him?
On an as-needed basis, typically, you know.
Pardon me? How-
Quarterly.
Quarterly?
As needed. When he comes in, you know, he stops in for lunch with others from, you know, within the county. The staff that's at the golf course, we communicate with them on a daily basis. We work really well with them. They have their piece that they have as far as their equipment. We have ours. But, you know, we're always helping each other out as it relates to, you know, anything within the operation of the business. It's in their best interest and it's in ours as well. So we have a really great relationship with them.
So if they're having, say, a more than normal group of golfers coming in,
Complete communication.
who communicates with you?
Anyone in the pro shop would
Uh-huh.
come to the general manager,
Mhm.
and the general manager would be made aware of it.
Okay.
So they do communicate those scheduled changes, whether it be tee times, whether it be the junior. Spike, help me out here. What's the junior golf league? Yes, exactly. So, you know, they're really good about that, and we're really good at working with them as well. Their community room next door, we try to be very mindful of, you know, our food and our food preparation. Let's say there's a baby shower going on next door that we're not a part of. We ensure that, you know, we keep ourselves in our space so that we don't interrupt what it is that they're doing.
I think the councilwoman already kind of covered the next question, but I'll ask it anyway. Knowing that the city's priorities are the golfers,
Mm-hmm.
how do you intend on accommodating them?
The same way
This
that
has always been an issue, by the way, for many years in this.
it's been an issue. Wow, exactly. That is our customer. Our customer, at the end of the day, you know, resonates from the golfers coming in and us keeping them there to not only make their experience while they've been golfing that much more pleasant, but with more desire for them to stay and bring their family and bring their friends back and so forth. Exactly. You know, that's what we expect. That's what we do now. Our relationship with our servers and our management staff at our golf course is very much the Cheers environment. And I'm not joking. Please feel free to stop by and take a look. They know the names. They know what they want. They walk in the door, and sometimes the drink is on the table. You know, it's very, very friendly in that way. We have Jackson Hospital across the street. They'll call ahead for their meals to be ready and on the table, so they don't have to worry about losing time for their lunch break, right? We recently implemented a delivery service. So we've got, you know, not only Uber Eats, but we've got DoorDash and we've got Postmates. They're across the street. Sometimes they're in surgery and they can't get those things done quick enough. We'll hop in a car and we run it across the street for them. That's what we do.
Okay, so you incorporate some of this cyber stuff and what have you to help.
100%.
Got you covered. Thank you. Very candid answer. Thank you.
100%.
I'm sure we all appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what we do.
How many years experience? You answered this already early, but I want to ask it again because it's what I have to ask of you.
Not a problem.
How many years of experience do you have in the food and beverage industry? And please explain in detail.
You're speaking about me individually or all of us?
The group.
Okay, the group. Well, we put this number down and somebody made us take it out.
Well, you answered it earlier already.
It's 175 in total. For myself, I've been in the industry.
Well, that's not what you said earlier.
No. For me, I will tell you that I've been in the industry for 40 years.
Okay.
Yes, that means I started with Burger King when I was 3.
Gotcha.
Got it?
By the way, that was good.
Yeah, thank you. It's a standard line, I'm afraid. Pretty soon I'm going to be, you know, at birth. In any case, yes, I've been in the food industry for 40 years now, starting at Burger King when I was 15 years old, and I worked my way up through the system. I started as a crew member behind the restaurant, or in the restaurant in Michigan. That's where I'm from, born and raised. Worked my way up through the system. I had an opportunity to work at corporate. I worked in R&D. I was also a brand delivery manager for Latin America and Canada, and I managed the entire purchasing network for Canada for 375 restaurants for 5 years.
Wow.
So.
Quite impressive.
Yes, and Eric, of course, having, you know, he and Lori, they put this business together right from the beginning, and Spike has been with them. He was with them in the beginning to put it together, and now all three of us have this opportunity to continue to grow the brand, and that's what we've been doing. So Spike's been with us, it's 20 years now,
And the final all-encompassing question we have for you tonight. Why should we consider you to be our new food and beverage operator?
Well, I think one of the things that we just answered really made a difference and I think resonated with all of you is our community and who we are. Our role is to ensure that through our mission statement, everyone leaves happier than when they came. So if your golfers, which is astounding to me, have not been treated in a way that they're welcome and that's their home and this is a place where they would want to be and spend time and bring their family, that doesn't make any sense to us. And that completely goes against our core beliefs and our culture. Our culture is about not only our community, but our growth, certainly with our staff, how our staff interacts with the community, interacts with the golfers as your community, and so forth, and what we can do to better continue to position Miami Springs within that as part of our role.
Thank you so much for your honest answers.
You're welcome.
You don't have any questions?
All right, so you're gonna need a new staff for the, for this project. Is there any way you're going to be able to keep the current staff that we have there?
Well, I guess that's really up to the facility. At this point, we have no idea who's there or you know what they're a part of. We don't know the structure. But as when we took over our Pembroke Pines location, we interviewed all the current staff and those that were within the ability with what we needed and that they met the qualifications, we kept them on. And even in that restaurant, which has now been open almost, it's been 4 years now, I still have 4 employees that are still with us from the beginning. So yeah, that's absolutely something we would look at. And we would welcome, by the way.
Okay, good. The other I got 2 more. The other question is, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. All right. The other one is, how long do you think it's going to be before you have a viable business there, as far as the banquet hall and stuff like that?
Well, as I said earlier, I think the front part of it, the bistro side, we could pull together in 2 weeks, 2 weeks' time, and the rest we would need at least 30 days to do any kind of a turnaround, depending upon the amount or the kind of infrastructure that might still need to be put together. I can't answer that with all certainty in terms of the turnkey portion there. On the banquet side of it, based on what I've seen on your calendar, I think there's really only 2 things that are coming up in late July and into August that I think, if I'm not mistaken, looked as though they were earmarked as already being planned out with other catering business. Once we would be able, again, to get in there, assess the current catering company that you have, work with them to understand their viability and what they want to be a part of, then we'll absolutely work with them to see what we can do about getting that turned around quickly.
All right. And the last one, I mean, you answered it, but I'm going to have to ask, like the Vice Mayor said, we try and be uniform what we ask everyone. I know that our main audience is the golfers, but I'm looking for someone that's also going to go out and bring other folks in, not just the golfers.
Absolutely.
Is that something in the business plan?
100%. That's what we do. And I think what's important about what we do is that, again, as I explained earlier with our Kendall location, because it was a former Steak and Ale, our signage, when we put Sports Grill out on the outside of that building and people drive by and they see, they do the double take and they see, again, that's a Sports Grill now, it creates that brand awareness. But that's not all we do. We visit the schools. We get out to the local teams. We certainly involve ourselves with the Chamber of Commerce and so forth. We take a look at the local, your city groups and so forth, and other things that you have available here. There's, marketing, social media, mailers, flyers, all of it. We're not just interested, of course, in, only thinking that this is a place for golfers, because that wouldn't behoove us in terms of our business plan. Right, we've got our Kids Eat Free on Wednesdays. We've got a discounted boneless wing on Monday. We've got, or trivia, as the case may be. We've got, different specials for county workers. On county workers, on Tuesdays, our county workers get 25% off with their county IDs. So those are the kinds of things, again, from a community perspective, that's what we're built on. That's what we do.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
You're very welcome.
Your operation hours, when would you start, what would your operation hours be?
Well, in the morning, again, having that cafe open and available, 8 o'clock is when we would like to start. That's what we do now. 8 or even, depending upon the golf course and what your requirements could be. If it's 9 o'clock, that's fine as well. Then we typically run our restaurant all the way through until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and then on the weekends until 12. That again will be through what I want to call the Sports Grill Cafe. We would have that ability to have the coffee. We would have different drinks that would be available for them, snacks, breakfast sandwiches, different breakfast items as well. Right now we have a breakfast menu at our Palmetto Golf Course that we could replicate with no problem. We've got eggs, sandwiches, platters, so on and so forth.
And you're aware of the 10 events that the city has to put that we need a facility for the 10 events?
Correct. And again, I think if, what you were speaking about before as it relates to the communication, if the communication is there on both sides, we won't have any problem with that because we'll be working with you to make it work.
Anything else?
No, sir, none.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Is it possible, 2 questions. First is that in our RFP response, we made it very clear that there was 2 things that we needed to have. The first thing was an extended term of an additional 5 years in order to make this viable for us and as it relates to our business plan and our financial projections on our pro forma. The second thing that's very important about this is signage. It was very clear in the RFP, and we responded very clearly as well, that signage is a requirement for us. In order for us to create our presence here and for people to be able to appreciate what we're going to be able to do in the Springs and for certainly the golf course and the country club, is to be able to advertise that Sports Grill is now within that facility. So those are 2 things that are really important to us. It is part of our RFP response, and it has been noted as being a requirement.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? All right. Well, we really do
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your candid answers.
Do you want everybody to leave the room while you guys finish discussion, or do you
prob-
want to bring everybody back into
Through the chair, that would probably be appropriate.
There's the mayor. You can't do it privately.
No, that they all come, yeah.
Okay, great.
I already turned mine in.
No?
So,
You're fast.
yeah.
I was doing it as it was going along.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
On page 2.
Council, the mayor has asked if they can do the 10 years because we structured it as a concession management agreement as opposed to a lease. A lease is not covered by the charter requirements. So if you wanted to have a 10-year agreement with a property, with a vendor, you could because we're not, the lease isn't invoked. So we restructured it this
I
year.
think she asked for 5, though.
They asked for 10.
10.
Folks.
Dangerous. Jamie.
Folks, I'm sorry, the meeting's still going.
Dangerous.
So, as I mentioned, whereas they're essentially going to have a license to be on the property and a management, as part of the management agreement.
And then the signage?
The signage, I'd have to check with Chris, just to confirm. I think that'd be at the discretion of the council, but we can look to see how we can accommodate it within our sign code.
Okay.
I mean, I'm presuming some kind of monument sign.
Yes.
We do have limited signage for the country club, but it might be something that the council is willing to entertain for the double branding purposes, we'll say.
Mayor, so if we're considering 10 years for them, do we need to consider 10 years for all of them?
As we put in the agreement, we contemplated a longer than 5 years in the RFP. Whether that's structured as a 5-year with a 5-year option to renew, a full 10-year from the very beginning, it's up to. From the way it's originally structured is that it puts in there the opportunity to be up to 10 years. Because it's not a lease agreement that we're having with them, we have that latitude now, as opposed to the way that was structured previously as a lease. We're limited in the charter up to 5 years and with automatic renewals.
Do you really believe, Mr. Attorney, that that's in our best interest? 10 years?
I mean, I think it all depends on, it's hard to say what the agreement will ultimately look like.
Okay.
I think that part of the process is a decision to potentially to award tonight, and then to bring back an agreement to you. Part of that process is the due diligence of some of the issues that have been discussed. Financial viability, proof of funds, and also capital improvement plans. The last time was a lesson for all of us, and so approving the capital improvement plans, the scheduling of those improvement plans, all those things are things that we'd put into the agreement. Because frankly, I think that there's been expressed before, and there's consensus, and it's been addressed today. Nobody wants the club shut down for 6 months while improvements are completely shut down, I should say, while improvements are being made. So all those things are going to have to be addressed with ultimately whoever gets the nod, should anybody get the nod this evening.
Thank you. So was I.
Did only three, but now I'm kind of surprised that it's going to be a tough decision.
Yep. They sure were.
My motivation here in making this decision is going through this for a long time, is the fact that they have the accommodations for the golfers to come in and have their say, which has been lacking for many, many years. The catering part of it, these are my opinions, catering part of it, as far as I'm concerned, is up to the actual person that's going to be doing the running of the country club. The more important thing to me is what it's going to be for the public and for the opportunity for our residents to enjoy our country club and have somewhere to go ahead and have a nice meal and a good time. Them are my concerns in making this decision. All the proposals are great. I think that Tammy was going to give us what kind of rent situation between for information for council. What kind
So, Mayor had asked me to share their revenue proposals that were provided within the RFP responses. So, Greenhouse, which is HRS Management, their response was a total for 5 years. It was $216,000. So it would be year one would be $12,000 spread between the 12 months. Year two would be $33,000. Year three would be $45,000. Year four would be $57,000, and year five would be $69,000 for the total of $216,000. Grand Salon would be $456,000 for the total 5 years. Year one would be $54,000. Year two would be $84,000. Year three would be $96,000. Year four would be $108,000, and year five would be $114,000. And Sports Grill would be a total of $159,274 for the 5 years. Year one being $30,000, year two being $30,900, year three being $31,827, year four $32,782, and year five $33,765.
I'm sorry, Grand Salon was how much total?
Grand Salon total was
$456.
$456.
456. Okay, and how about the investment? Can you tell us those figures again? I know one was 70,000, 400,000, 50 to 75,000, and the other was 170. Is that those numbers are correct?
So capital improvements for the greenhouse, I believe they said it was going to be a little over $100,000, around 100, 105. Grand Salon said anywhere between 100,000 to 150,000. And Sports Grill, I think, said over a little bit over 100,000 as well.
170, I think.
170.
Council, as a threshold issue, I think Tammy started the presentations by sort of couching and putting it up to you how you wanted to address their actual selection. Obviously, rejection is still possible, but I'm not going to address that right now. You can make your decision based off of the previously scored results, or you can go ahead and take the opportunity to score based on the criteria that was provided.
And that would be at the next meeting, we would discuss this?
No, you
No,
would-
you can do
you
that
would
now.
do that now.
This is a special meeting, you can take action on it.
And we probably should take action.
Yeah.
right?
I think Paul's had enough. Mayor, if I might. While you guys are scoring all this, this is so important to us, to the five of us tonight. You know, we didn't get it right last time, if you remember, and it cost all of us, and it was embarrassing. And I hold that personally. Personally, one of the ones personally responsible for this happening. So it is so important for me tonight to get this right. It's off the charts. And the last time this was presented to us, a few years back, somebody had a presentation that just choked a horse. I mean, it's like 4 inches thick. Everybody else's is like a 1/4 inch. And it was, you know, done deal. Slam dunk. Tonight it wasn't. And I kind of liked that in a way. I kind of liked the sparring and the ambiance and the hometown feeling and the experience and where you guys wanted to go with this thing. And I just hope and pray that we'll get it right this time. Thank you, Mayor.
I have a few questions.
I need answers, decisions. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I just want to bring this up. Well, I think it's an important issue with the, well, I mean, between us, the restroom renovations, there's a difference between updating restrooms and making them ADA, you know, accessible, which ADA means it's required. ADA compliant means it's a requirement. The other one is just, you know, it'd be nice to make them a little more. So, and I don't know if Paul can answer this. Do our restrooms need to be brought up to ADA compliance, or are they just need a little renovation to make them a little nicer, more attractive? Okay, so that is an issue with, my understanding is with Grand Salon and with Greenhouse, that they, in their capital improvements, that was included, that they were going to do that. That was not included with Sports Grill. So that would be on us, an additional cost to us. Is that correct? Okay.
I heard it.
And that would be a requirement, not something that we can wait on.
Another question?
Well, I just wondered, as far as the capital improvements part, where do you think that would fall with the category 1, 2, and 3? Where are you grading that?
Well, I'm looking, you know, first of all, we were looking for when this thing, when we bought the golf course and we finally paid it off, we were looking for this, not only, the most important thing was to service, as I said earlier, but the other part of it was is to supplement the loss of the golf course. And have, the theory was to have a reputable place, run it, service the golfers, and also with that revenue that's given to us in rent, basically it's rent, although its terminology may be different now, but was to go ahead and supplement the loss of the golf course. You gotta balance this out. Then you have Sports Bar, whose reputation and what they can create as far as a place to go for the residents and for the city is there. And then you have Grand Salon, who in my mind looks like a fit of being their experience of doing what they do. And then you have Greenhouse, who's like an innovative situation more of a new wave type of food, new wave kind of situation going on. But the revenues that are gonna be created by them and the revenues being created by Sports Bar somehow doesn't seem to be in the same accommodation as Grand Salon. I'm just doing an analyzation. I mean, this is a tough thing, you know, I'm just making everybody go about it. Then you go ahead and reference that Grand Salon would redo the bathrooms and put them to ADA compliance, which is another revenue source that we would have to go ahead and commit to, and so would Greenhouse. It's a shame that Sports Bar wouldn't accommodate us in that situation. Then you go to Sports Bar once 10 years. That's a big commitment in this town to give somebody a 10-year commitment on our property. I'm weighing everything out, telling you how I feel inside. Whether I'm right or wrong, this is what's in my head right now. So I'm looking at this, and then if you talk to evaluations of some of these things, my understanding that the presentation of one of them was completely different than a very good presentation and of what they proposed on paper and what they came here and proposed here tonight, which would maybe have changed the calculations of what was proposed for us to pick. I don't know if do we have to make a decision tonight, or can we? Do we have to, or can we think about this? I mean, I'm looking for counsel.
Well,
what
Mayor,
you're looking for, because none of you guys are giving me any.
I'm
well,
going to
no,
give you
no,
something
no,
in a minute.
I just gave you a ton of material a moment ago.
No, but I'm looking for somebody to say.
You want my answer?
I think we should do this tonight and get it done.
Well, I mean, that's why I asked the question. I mean, this council can certainly defer. If that's your prerogative, you can make a decision based on the rankings that were provided, or you can rescore. If the desire is to rescore, as Councilman Petrolanda sort of just gestured, then I think that's something that you all have to do, and then that Tammy can tabulate it. But I think that's a threshold issue you have to make right now.
I mean,
Decision.
if you want to go ahead by the scoring part of it, it's a public document, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
It will
so
be once we score it. Yeah.
Score, it's a public document.
I already gave her one.
I'm not into that. I'm into making a decision.
So are we.
I'm not afraid to go ahead and say make a decision.
Mayor,
And I'll propose. Go ahead.
no, when you're done, please.
If I'm going to make a proposal that we accept the Grand Salon.
Well, can each of us speak though
Yeah,
before?
I'm just saying.
Okay, Bill.
I'm throwing it out.
Okay.
Majority rules.
Hey, that's fine. I got it. So I want to echo what Councilman Best said at the beginning, and I have said before, we need to get this right. And we are in a very unique community. We're in a community that is evolving right now. It always is, but right now within a larger city of Miami. And I think we need to look for something that's a little different. We want to have a venue here that accommodates the golfers and the residents and piques the interest of people outside of Miami Springs as well. And that combination is hard to find. But as far as I'm concerned, I heard that here tonight. I don't think that we do enough if we serve the golfers and then we have a venue that's closed early and people from Miami Springs can't go, or people that come in through the airport can't come and have dinner or some other things. I'm not in agreement with a proposal that doesn't offer like brunch every Sunday and a variety of different things and piques the interest of young people, older people, and all kinds, you know. If I live in Miami, I live in Miami Springs, and many times I go all the way out to South Beach, or I go to Brickell, or I go to Doral, because we don't have some of those very eclectic different things here. And by the same token, we don't have people coming into our community that we would like to have them see the gem that we have, and the gem not only being our community, but that country club. We have an opportunity to do that. So if we want to bring something in that already exists in other parts, and it's exactly the same as other things that other people can pick from, we're not going to achieve getting it right, in my opinion. So I'm ready to make a decision as well. But
Mayor, may I say something? Yeah. think we should decide tonight. If we can't decide tonight, it's because we're just not happy with the folks that are here presenting. In that case, then we need to redirect the management to go out and try this again and get someone else. But if that's not the case, we should pick tonight. I did my numbers. I'm ready to.
I am as well. Yeah, Councilman Petrolanda, you're spot on. I think what we have seen here tonight, among the three that have presented it to us, we certainly ought to be able to make a decision on this.
There are three very different presentations.
They are.
Yes.
Quite right, Councilwoman.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to just point out too, with Sports Grill, which I think has the experience to cater to our golfers, which is very important because this is a golf course and we're now premier and we want to cater to them. And I think, like I said, that this is just what they would be interested in, the food experience that you offer. My concerns with that is the 10-year agreement and also the sign outside. I just don't think that our residents would like a sign of a restaurant outside of our golf course. I think that detracts from the Miami Springs Golf Course. So that is a big, although however valid it is, for Sports Grill to want that, that's a big downside. And then of course the ADA renovations, which are additional cost to us. The Grand Salon experience that they have with catering, I think that's been something we've been lacking in our community, is having the ability to have good, qualified, experienced caterers at that golf course. So they bring that that knowledge and also the greater revenue, and we have to base that, in a way. All three companies, and all three of them are exceptional. Thank you so much. I want to thank all three of you for being here because you have wonderful presentations and great businesses. The greater revenue source from Grand Salon is also something that, based on their experience in catering, they believe that they can provide this.
Through the chair. I guess if we're all weighing in here, I guess I'll weigh in. I like the hometown aspect of Greenhouse. They're local people. They've been here for a long time. They bring something different, and it's a young crowd, supported by somebody that's been doing this forever. You got both sides of it. You got the golfers, which is clear that has to be supported, and you also have the aspect of continuing to make a business work, which means you got to have weddings, you got to have, banquets, like Carlos Santana did back in the day. We all know this. That's the only reason he survived. He didn't take care of the golfers though, and Carlos knew that as well. I tell it to his face. God bless his soul. And I like that combination, and I like the hometown quality of Greenhouse. I'll just weigh in on that.
I do also. And I like that they're not competing with anything else that exists in our community. It's a very different approach. And it isn't just in one area. I think that the explanation of how they're addressing the golfers, the community, the catering, all of that the elaboration was very good.
I think Greenhouse sounds like exceptional food and very tasty. A different experience. However, I don't think that is necessarily the right match for our golf course, where golfers are coming in and they're expecting, the typical, what they have at other golf courses. They're not coming to a golf course for a culinary experience. They're coming to a golf course to golf and to have good food of what they expect, the beer and the wings and the burgers and stuff afterwards. And also, on the other end, we need to have someone that is really experienced in providing catering at a golf course. And in that case, both Grand Salon and Sports Grill have that experience of a combination of being involved with a golf course. Particularly, Grand Salon has that for 15 years, I think, of being with Killian.
So I agree with the mayor and Councilwoman. I ranked them. I gave Grand Salon 95% total, Greenhouse 85, and Sports Grill 80. So I think if we vote,
Well, if you want to share your vote, I'll tell you what I did. I did Greenhouse 80, Sports Bar 75 and Grand Salon 70. That was my vote.
Okay, Council,
Tou-
but
tou-
as I
tou-
mentioned, just for the
touche.
purposes of the, just for purposes of a record,
Mhm.
and you always have to be careful in procurements, when making the decision, we should be clear about what you're making a decision on, whether you're going through your own scores or relying on the score by the administration, just to be clear.
I'm going on my own score.
Okay, so then I think then there's got to be consensus to do a scoring.
I see what you're saying.
No,
yeah.
I don't want you to score. You have the option to score or to rely on the scores of the administration. It's up to you.
Mayor, do we have a consensus on one without scoring?
Right, if there is, you
Is
can
there a
rely on the
consensus
administration's
of
recommendation.
at least three votes on one?
If
Make a
not, then you
motion.
can score. If there's confusion about if there's.
I just think that I'm listening to things that, to say, okay, this proposal has experience with the golf, and this proposal does too, and this one doesn't. I didn't really hear, for example, Grand Salon with the actual golf having that experience. They are more so banquet, weddings, mostly weddings. It's a huge wedding thing and very nicely done. That was the focus, not what they're providing the golfers.
Hmm.
So I don't know if I didn't hear that. Did everybody hear that? Because that's not what I heard.
I agree with what you're saying.
And just to be clear, if you're going to deviate from staff's recommendation, then we have to substantiate that decision based on qualifications, based on deliverables, something to substantiate the decision. It certainly can't be anecdotal, which is why there's a score sheet in front of you where if you wanted to score individually and weigh one category more than the other, that's part of the process. And the whole point is just to, and with due respect to the respondents, it would be the same thing in any kind of solicitation.
Yeah.
We have to select within appropriate parameters, and to avoid a bid protest, you want to make a decision that's based not on necessarily just arbitrary commentary, not that any of it is arbitrary, but legally speaking, and you want to be able to justify it on paper. So if you all want to take your own personal disposition and put it down in writing, you can at least get to some kind of numerical calculation based on the categories that are provided.
Yeah, I do too. Dan, I have a question regarding the revenue, proposed revenue. And again, you know, obviously they're telling us what we'd like to hear of how much they, you know, what they believe is realistically what they can do, but how much weight or how reasonable it is it for, and I guess I should ask that of you and Paul or Tammy, for how much weight should we put on the proposed revenue?
I mean, historically, it's been a significant component of the solicitation, and precisely on the grounds that the mayor brought up. The city did not want to be operating this. They also did not want to lose any additional revenue on the golf course, and they wanted to have the revenue generated from the concession to offset any losses that have been incurred since we took the golf course over. And so it has been, it's the reason why it's one of the main categories. It has been a significant element of the solicitation. And so if the desire is to go with a respondent that provides less revenue, then you need to substantiate, I think, rather heavily what about their offerings or their qualifications make it so that their less money is warranted. We also can't go to them and all of a sudden ask them to provide more money. It's called bid shopping, and essentially we have to go with the proposal that they offered.
You know, if we want to have a different outcome, we can't bring in the same or very similar to what we've had. And so we need to think about what, you know, what clientele and who is going to really be satisfied by what's proposed here, and do we want to have the same thing being served and the same population of people being excluded because there's nothing for them there. So all three presentations they have experience, they were, you know, great. The food is great in terms of, you know, what they've done in the past, but the reality is that, if we want something different, we can't vote on a proposal that's going to bring something that we've already had in the past and didn't work.
I happen to agree with that, Councilwoman, and I'll tell you why. We gave the big guy a shot once. Didn't work. Here we are again. Now we have the opportunity to give somebody a shot who is local, young, and the numbers are like right there with everybody else. Plus, in my opinion, the support aspect of it in terms of what Patrick Kamesh could bring to this. Not to mention a name, but I just did. With his experience, vast experience in this business. Worldwide, by the way. I think this is an excellent opportunity. And 5 years ago, or whatever it was, or 4 years ago, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, when we had to do this before, presentation was everything. To me, it's more than that right now. It's about giving somebody an opportunity and show what they can do, and 5 years to do it.
Councilman, I would like to say I don't think that we are in a position to give someone an opportunity. I think we're in a position to act really responsibly and find someone with the experience. And I believe when it was chosen last time that perhaps there wasn't the experience or the presenter, and I wasn't there.
It was.
Was told that, but we didn't follow through and really realize that they, follow up and make sure that they had the experience that they were claiming. I think right now we have two organizations that have the experience of dealing with a golf course right now, and they're golf courses that are in existence, and they're providing services for the golf courses and providing the catering.
Well, one has no catering experience, and the other one has all catering experience, and nothing to go. I mean, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
And like the mayor said, our
The
main.
in my opinion, with where my weighing in here is, as far as greenhouse goes, my biggest, it's not their plan, it's not my biggest thing is the revenues that are coming to the city. Well, what's it, 200?
216.
216 in total. And then if you weigh the other ones, and I have a problem with Sports Bar with the 10 year.
Yeah.
And then Grand Salon.
Yeah, but
as far as then you go to Grand Salon, you're picking it apart. I mean, I understand the situation of happened before, but we were lied to, so that's a different story.
Right.
This isn't. These people are reputable here. We weren't told to.
Well, Mayor, I believe we thought they were reputable last time too.
Well, Mayor, can I just say one thing about that? Just forgive me, and I'm gonna perhaps make a bold statement, but I do feel that the last time and we were all defrauded, and that's what you feel like when you're defrauded. Representations are made, you believe them, and then they turn out to be false or they didn't abide by them. Certainly, between whoever you select now and by the time the contract's brought back, there's a series of additional due diligence and representations that are going to be made. And like any other arrangement, if whichever provider you select fails to abide by that, we'll immediately start advising them, putting them on notice, advising all of you, and certainly we're not going to get bit by the same dog twice. So there will be a check on money, a check on capital improvements, a number of other elements to make sure those things don't happen again.
I'd like to make one last blunt statement, not that I'm known to do that. So I want to caution you all on really thinking about what we're going to be getting on a long-term basis moving forward based on who we vote on today. So if you want to have weddings and quinces every weekend, or most of the weekends, and a restaurant that closes early and doesn't really attract the rest of the community, we can do that. If you want to have wings and all these other things that are very delicious and good, and you think that's going to serve our community, then fine, go for that. But you need to really keep in mind what we're going to get from what we approved today, because we can't go back, and we owe it to this community to provide something different and diverse and something that's going to meet the needs of not just a group of people in Miami Springs, but a larger group of people, and people who come to visit our community and bring attention to our community as something that's different and something that's of quality and something that attracts people who want to eat healthy and people who want to, and I mean, that's it.
We have restaurants here that have that.
That don't open on Sundays, that have early hours.
But we have restaurants here that meet those needs too, and also we've had restaurants that have been here that have attempted that to be unique. And you know, farm to table is wonderful. I think it's exceptional.
What restaurant have we had here? I'm sorry, Councilwoman. What restaurant have we had here has done farm to table or something innovative like that?
I think that you're getting off the subject.
Yeah.
No, because we have it. If we're going to say something, then let's cite the restaurant. I don't recall that. I've lived here 36 years.
We have a restaurant that closed recently that tried to be very innovative.
No,
and,
it did not. It had awful service. Awful service.
Well, then we're not talking about the food. That's different. Service is different than food.
The food wasn't very varied. It wasn't anything you can't get in Little Havana.
Whatever.
Mayor, you're looking for a motion?
Yes, I am.
I'd like to make a motion that Greenhouse be selected as a food and beverage operator.
Again, council, forgive me, but we have to.
No, I
so-
asked.
I know, but I've been cautioning you. We have to substantiate the decision, and so if you're going to attempt to do that, then score and work towards substantiating that. Because certainly, if you have a recommendation to go one way and there's a decision to go another without substantiation, we might open ourselves up to liability.
All right, so you want us to hand these in?
I would like you to.
Counselor, I think I've already substantiated my opinion on this.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, but I don't think so. I mean, essentially, if you're gonna go with a particular direction, then you have to put on, especially where there's a difference in price, that you have to substantiate it with.
She's got it.
I understand, sir, but the whole body has to agree with you, and so
That's why I was making a motion, sir.
I understand. There needs to be something on the record that substantiates if it's the qualifications, and there has to be an agreement as to those things, and simply, I'm just trying. Like, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. I'm just trying to avoid any of the non-selected parties from bringing forward a bid protest.
I'd like to second Councilman's best motion.
Thank you.
What are we doing here then? So we're not doing anything legally wrong. What are we doing here wrong here?
From
What I'm thinking is like this, all right? Do you want us to turn these in to be evaluated?
Let's do that.
It's up to
Can-
you all.
Let's do
Essentially,
that.
you're policing yourselves.
Can I make a suggestion? Can they eliminate what they want to do? In other words, do they want to base their recommendation on what what we recommended as staff on the May 13th meeting? Can they vote on that and then move next, or eliminate all of this and go to the another RFP process, or go to the ranking, and then once they rank, then they can give
Right. I mean,
those
that's the
rankings?
question I've been posing.
that
I mean,
makes-
ultimately, to choose a
I
course
think
of
you have
action.
to choose one of the three actions first. After you've chosen one of the three actions,
All right, which-
then I
give
think
me-
you should
Give
rank
me
them.
the three actions. What do you want?
So the
just
first possibility would be to go based on staff's recommendation, which was recommended at the May 13th meeting.
Correct.
Which was that?
Okay.
Which was what? Can you go over that?
Jamie, come on.
Ooh, I think
Grand
it was
Salon
Grand,
was
it was
You're
Grand
really
Salon.
asking that?
Yes.
Yes, just for
So,
the record.
And then second recommendation tonight through your packets are to re-rank the groups after your presentations individually. You would pass those score sheets to me. I'll total them up. If for some reason, I understand what Dan is explaining, that if you don't agree with the scoring, you guys may discuss it then, but you have to base you have to base it on something if the scoring is not matching who everybody wants to win the RFP. It has to be substantiated.
Exactly right. I mean, think about this like if it was a quasi-judicial matter where you have to have it substantial competent evidence that you're basing your decision on. It's not to that standard, but you still have to put on the record why you're deviating either from scores done by the administration or your own scores to substantiate your decision.
We do this through a motion?
I think what we score on the sheets that we have in front of us is substantial enough to
Yes.
answer
If
that
you all
question.
wanna
If you all
score.
go that way.
route,
If you
yes.
all want to score.
Do we
Mine is scored.
do we go through a motion? Like if I made a motion to go through what the staff recommended and somebody seconds it,
I
then
would
we
make a
vote.
motion, yeah.
Well, you
with-
do have a
with-
first and a second on the table right now, so
You do. Thank you.
But that's not a legal one, correct?
it's
What?
not. It's not that it's not legal. It's just that I
It's
would
just not
humbly
liability.
recommend that more information be put behind the motion
Right.
to substantiate it.
We have scores.
Well, okay, okay, fine, through the chair. All right, I'll substantiate my motion. I will substantiate my motion by telling you that the reason that I went with the outfit that I went with is because they're hometown people. They are substantiated, they have good backing. They will accommodate the golfers, and they will accommodate weddings and banquets in toto, both. They'll balance that better than the other two presentations I heard. Is that fair? Thank you.
I hope so.
Well, I do too, believe me. Believe me,
They
Danny.
were really the only presentation that emphasized all three of those things to the degree that they did, and that have the experience to carry it out.
My only, this is discussion, is first and second. My only reservation is the revenue. I understand what you're saying. And my other reservation, and these people I know well, is the fact that it's a company that's been put together. I don't know, I don't know if I don't think we can look at it as just giving people an opportunity. I think we have to be more understanding of what our responsibilities are for the community. Tough decision.
It is.
I totally agree with you, Mayor,
You're
and
right.
it's because of that I'm leaning the way that I'm leaning and saying that, because anyone that gets it today is being given an opportunity.
I would like to mention, as far as the experience with greenhouse